Hello and welcome to episode 29 of Your Average Critics. We've got a full house today, so welcome back, Joe.
Hello.
Back from the wilderness.
Back from the dead.
Yeah.
I didn't die.
How have you been?
Might as well have.
I just couldn't be bothered to turn up.
You're dead to us, mate.
How have you been?
Yeah, not bad. My life's been pretty boring. So
Oh, okay, cool.
Not really going to go into it.
Have you been filling your void with films and TV?
Not really.
Okay.
Oh,
You
get
look
the fuck
like it.
out.
Thank you.
Mm.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm going for.
Mm.
Yeah, nice.
have you seen Vikings? He looks just like the same guy.
I have.
You look
That's
like
why.
that guy.
Ragnar Lothbrok. Fucking Batman.
Yeah? Alright, tell us about it then.
What, Vikings?
Yeah. The
Alright.
TV show, not the...
Alright,
the people.
so Vikings is set in the Viking era.
Okay. Which is when?
I don't know the exact date that it's set.
In the like 1200s.
I don't know. It's medieval times.
Okay.
Let's just put it like that. And you follow the story of a guy called Ragnar Lothbrok who starts his journey as a lowly soldier working for some king in Norway or wherever they are.
Okay.
And then basically he wants to sail to England to do raids because they normally do raids in the east.
Okay.
So
The east of maybe
wherever,
Norway.
Yeah, wherever they are. So, but the king doesn't want him to go to England. So he sets up an illegal raid, takes a boat to England, comes back, shows everyone, and basically dicks over the king, and then
Okay.
becomes king.
Right.
And
This is a
then
mutiny.
yeah, and then goes to Paris and raids Paris.
I saw that episode. That's
yeah,
good.
fucking sick episode.
Is it finished?
That's
Is it
brutal.
ongoing?
So
It's,
brutal.
it's still going. Yeah, I don't want to spoil it too much, but yeah, it's still going.
What's good about it then? Why is
Everything.
Okay.
Everything.
Do you think
The-
that fight scenes are just so much better when it's like medieval?
Yeah.
Because
It's
like
more
you've got
intense.
more gore, things like
Yeah,
that. Whereas
exactly.
like now, like lasers,
Yeah. It's less intense.
someone just evaporates and that's it. Game over. No
But-
way.
But the main good thing about the series is the characters. All of the
Okay.
characters are ridiculously good and they're played really well by
Okay.
their actors. Especially Ragnar Lothbrok. I don't know who he's played by. Don't remember the name. But that
You,
character
mate.
is ridiculous. Yeah, me.
So, what's the main thread throughout it? Is it like
You-
someone else wants to be king? So it's not like
You basically follow Ragnar on his journey from soldier to basically king
okay,
of the Vikings.
okay.
And his journeys through England, France.
How many seasons are there?
4, I believe. And they're looking to do a 5th.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's on Netflix.
No, but it's on Amazon.
Okay.
Give it a watch.
I think it's
Highly
on
recommend
it's on
it.
Client thingy if you can get it on it again.
Fair
Highly
enough.
recommended.
Okay. Cool. I'll check that out. So we've had a big cinema release this week, so we might as well talk about that. Unless anyone's got any movie news or anything like that.
Did you say about the ABC thing last week? Inhumans?
Oh no. So is this that they
What, that it's going to get cancelled?
Cancelled.
Apparently-
Apparently it already has been.
apparently they're going to cancel the Inhumans before series 1's even aired?
I'm not surprised.
I then beg the question whether it won't get carried on by the Disney Channel that they're going to make, because they're making the equivalent of Disney Channel. Like, you know, DC are making their own like streaming network.
Right.
Apparently Disney are doing the same.
I don't think it would be called the Disney Channel.
No, yeah, so, but you know what I
Hannah
mean.
Montana
Disney,
and then Inhumans.
Disney stream or Marvel streaming, so maybe they'll just add
Okay.
it to that.
Maybe.
If it is that significant to the whole storyline.
Well, they might
I doubt
incorporate
it is,
it more into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Well, it's already in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It was season 2 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It was the Inhumans.
But then they might just make it all within that.
Yeah.
If the
But
Inhumans.
they've gone from it. They've finished that's like finished.
Ah.
And there's people that they capture along the way, but
But this is because on one of the posters it said the complete series available 29th or whatever. Whereas people are thinking, well, why would they say the complete series? That suggests that it's ended. Whereas normally it'd say, season 1 available, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah.
oh, is that the only reason that people were thinking that?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, that's not.
But it is odd wording.
Is
It
it?
is odd word.
Because
Yeah.
The complete series. That's it.
did I say series or season? So they say season.
Oh,
That's
I don't
different to
know.
series.
I don't know. But then is a load of seasons a series?
Yeah.
So if
Yeah,
like,
so I'm saying if they said the complete series, then I'd be like, okay, that means it's over. But if they said the complete season, then I'd be like, that's
There
just one
could be
season.
more.
There could be
Yeah.
more.
yeah, that's true.
But we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
But
I wouldn't,
we
be
get-
I wouldn't be surprised if it got cancelled. The advert.
Yeah.
the
Well,
trailer
I do want to see it
shite.
because you made it sound like it was all right, so worth a watch.
does it, you know, warrant cancelling after the 2 episodes you saw?
You look like you've just woken up.
Yeah, mate.
I mean,
Drink more super malt.
That's gone straight to your head,
it
isn't
slumps me. That's the thing.
No,
But-
you need a Magnum.
What should do? It's okay. Like, if they were like, yeah, I didn't watch this and think, yeah, I want it to be like 4 or 5 seasons of it. If they did 1 season and concluded the story in 1 season, but yeah, that's fine. But
That's
I've seen worse shows go to many more seasons.
I.e. that show that we watched, Degrassi. Bloody hell.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
Is that the one that Drake's in?
Used to be,
It
yeah.
used to be, yeah,
In
but
the
it's
first gen.
changed so much
it's now
now.
it's like these Canadian kids who can't act to save their lives. Me and Chris watched like 3 episodes of this.
Oh, I don't know what
It was
we were
awful.
doing.
Even that Shadowhunters thing, that was awful.
Oh no, that's still
still going.
season 3 is
There you
going to
go.
come out,
So
you know.
I've seen much worse shows get much longer
But
time.
it's
but
it depends how much they, because obviously it depends how much they spend on it and how much of a fan base it gathers. Because like Shadowhunters thing, when we went to Comic-Con, all 3 of us went obviously,
Yeah.
but I never thought it was going to take off. But loads of people were into it and there was posters everywhere about it, and it wasn't just to advertise it; it was because people liked it, and I was just like, what? I mean, the main character is quite good looking, so maybe that's why, I don't know. But yeah, the ABC thing, the Inhumans, I think what they need to do is, because obviously the main character, I don't know his name, he's meant to be like this...
Black Bolt, is it? Black
Yeah, so yeah, but he's... Yeah, okay, I suppose we'll call him Super.
Blackagar, Boltagon. Is that,
Is that it? Oh,
some...
but,
Like a guy
weird.
Boltodon.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Some
Sounds
weird-
like a Pokemon.
but he's really all powerful, isn't he? So they just need to present him as this all powerful being, and then when it comes to Infinity War, they need to show that how insignificant he is compared to the main bad guy, and then it might enhance the threat a little bit more, maybe.
Okay.
But yeah.
Do you know what? I've actually been watching Iron Fist. I don't know why. I finished House of Cards finally, and I thought I slogged through that and it was so bad. I might as well watch Iron Fist. And do you know what? It's actually not bad. Like I know I watched the first episode and I thought it was terrible, and then all you lot are saying not great things about
I
it.
just think it was. Don't think the series itself was bad. I just thought it was bad acting and bad fight scenes.
Oh, the fight scenes are dreadful, but I actually quite like the kind of drama, the central drama about like the business.
I like that bit as well. I like that more than all the fighting.
Oh yeah,
I
definitely.
like the other family more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
What are their names?
Meachams.
Meachams, yeah, they're the best part about it, man.
Yeah, no, I actually don't mind that. So
How
I'm
many episodes is it in?
5.
I've seen nearly done. You know, The Defenders is the least viewed Marvel series on Netflix.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
To be
Okay,
fair, Iron Fist was on the most viewed, so.
that's true. I don't mind.
Was it?
But I think Danny Rand's quite annoying. Like he's always like,
Yeah.
he's like in the first series of Empire when Cookie would just turn up at board meetings and just like fuck shit up. I was just like, oh Danny, just please go away.
Do you know what really annoys me though? For someone who's meant to be so calm and like,
Zen.
yeah, he's meant to put all his zen into one area and be really calm. He is the most irrational character out of the 4 of them, and he gets angry by like the smallest of things in it. And I'm just like,
It's because he didn't finish his training.
And he's still
true,
a
he
child.
didn't.
but-
Yeah, he is, isn't he?
He's still a child. But yeah, I like I said, Iron Fist is my second least favourite of all the.
Oh, you don't like Jessica
I
Jones?
don't just. I still haven't finished Jessica Jones. That's how much I didn't like it. But it like, if all the Meacham stuff wasn't in it, I would have thought it was absolutely terrible. I really like all the legal, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And when I was watching people review it, they were saying that they hated all that stuff and they would wish they'd get to the kung fu stuff.
They're probably like the die Marvel fans up,
Yeah.
which are like, that's irrelevant to us.
But yeah, I love like corporate espionage.
yeah.
That's my,
Would you watch
that's my jam.
Suits?
Do you
I do
still?
watch Suits,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay,
Are you up to date
that's
with it?
what I thought.
I'm like halfway through season 6. I think it's on season 7 now. I think season 7.
I think I'm on season 5.
Okay. Well, I
What,
know
you up
bits
to date?
about it. No. Like Laura
Yeah.
watches it, but I kind of dip in and out.
I'm surprised that's another series that I'm surprised actually went that far. Because I mean, season 1 and 2 I thought was so
Really good,
amazing, yeah. And obviously it's gonna be a bit saturated with like, oh, we're gonna go into this case. It's gonna be really hard. He can remember everything, and then, oh yeah, we win or sometimes they lose and then they bring it back somehow. It's like the same.
Suits really frustrates me when I watch it because, like, is it Donna? She's always putting her like 2 cents in. I'm like, just go away.
Yeah.
You know, someone's talking and she just appears and she's like, Harvey, blah blah blah. I'm like, Donna, go away.
I'm waiting for her and Harvey to get together, man.
Yeah.
And then they're always everything's goddamn, like, oh my goddamn,
They say,
goddamn.
they say.
It's like, please just say fuck.
They say goddamn and they say shit all the time.
All the time.
I think that's the only thing they're allowed to say.
Yeah,
and
it's
they're
like-
not allowed to say fuck or bitch.
No.
They say bitch. But
They're probably limited to how much they can say shit in a series.
They
as
say
well.
no. They say shit bare.
Did I?
At least
Yeah.
once or twice. An episode.
That's what I don't get about Rick and Morty is because sometimes they say shit and it's not censored, but sometimes they say
I think they
shit
do it
and
on
it is
purpose.
censored. Well, yeah, it might be. That's the thing I hate with like Family Guy as well. Just uncensor it. I know it's quite funny when it's just a bleep, but just uncensor
I was listening
it, please.
to an Eminem mix. It was like some DJ on TV. I don't know what channel it was, and they had Eminem and Dr. Dre, and every other word was pretty much censored. I was like,
Yeah.
and there was I can't forget about Dre, and he's like smoking trees. Is one of the like lyrics,
Yeah.
and they believe that right. That bit out, I was like,
If you hear the censored version of Stan, it's like every other word.
Yeah. I saw Stormzy performing one of his songs, and he had to replace all the N words and all the fucks and all the shits, and I was like,
When you saw him live?
no,
Oh,
sorry,
I was gonna say.
I saw a video of him.
Oh,
performing.
yeah.
And I was thinking like that must be like so hard to. He must have practiced that like day and night.
Yeah.
Because you must just think like, oh, this is the lyrics. This is the lyrics. I'm just gonna sing. And imagine if like he's in front of like thousands of people who are like underage, and you just start saying the N word and the F word and all stuff like that, just because you can't help it, and then you get banned from shows and stuff.
they hear it sooner or later.
Talking about shows that went on too long, and we mentioned this when we were chatting the other day. Waterloo Road.
Yeah, oh mate,
That went on for like
Oliver,
back in the
Oliver got
day,
me into
yes.
Waterloo Road back in the day, yeah.
Little Denzel, mate.
Denzel Kelly, R.I.P. Oh.
That went on for like 10 years.
Yeah, at least I think it was back
Dante.
to eight or 9 seasons. Yeah, Dante Show.
I only watched the first like 3.
Oh mate, it got really shit to be fair.
It
When
got
they moved to
ridiculous.
Scotland, that's when it got shit.
Did all the kids move as well?
Yeah, it turned to a boarding school.
What the hell?
Yeah.
They moved from Rochdale to Scotland.
And then the Kelly family, like,
They
all
all
of them are
died.
dead.
They all died. No, Earl's in prison.
Yeah.
Marley or Marlon, he died. Sambuca died. Denzel died. Denzel got hit by a truck on the way to Scotland.
What?
He got hit by a truck on the way to Scotland.
Didn't someone get killed with a crossbow or something?
Yeah, no,
George Sampson.
George Sampson, no, he shot Tom Clarkson with a crossbow, and then I'm pretty sure Tom fell off a roof and died.
Oh my god.
Tom Clarkson was like the last in the original. Him and Grantley budgeted.
Grantley.
The last
What happened to
two.
Grantley?
I don't know. I think Grantley got like cancer or something.
Oh no.
I think I watched the first season, maybe 2 of it, and then I gave
He was
up.
really good at the first few
Yeah, it was
seasons.
alright because it was semi realistic,
Yeah.
and then it just.
It got really
Just
out.
work.
It did get really out of control.
Yeah.
I won't lie. It was quite funny though. Bolton Smiley and all them. Paul Langley.
Bolton Smiley, mate.
Bolton Smiley.
Oh.
Jack, do you know what Charlie Road?
Do you remember we bumped into Denzel Malia? He did. He was playing that football thing.
I don't remember that.
Scored the
Oh,
goal.
you said it. You saw him, yeah. I
Yeah,
remember.
it was 100% him. So he's obviously, you know, friend of the
Legit.
show and all.
Legit a celeb, innit?
All right, let's talk about Kingsman 2.
Oh, what? Pro.
Oh no, okay.
Where's your segues, mate?
Sorry, mate.
Sorry, you were the
since-
Segway King last week.
We're still on news. Should we talk about the George R.R. Martin getting the? He got someone as a showrunner for one of his 5 pilots. I can't remember the guy's name. Brian something.
Cranston?
Brian Cogman, who
Okay.
showrun some of the episodes. I think season 1 and 2. He's got him to write the what's it called?
Treatment.
Screen.
yeah.
The
Do you know what I mean?
Screenplay.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Well,
one of his 5
potential.
series.
Yeah.
And he said that we shouldn't expect all 5 immediately, but if one of them does well, which he thinks is coming out in 2019 or 2020, then we might get a couple more.
That's really good because people are assuming that the Game of Thrones series 8 will not come until 2019. So we might not even be waiting that long for the, you know, the first prequel or
No, you
side.
just said 2019.
Yeah.
So, it'll
if-
be the
if
same
season-
time as the season 8.
Yeah, so my point is that we don't have to wait very long.
That's literally what he just said.
So,
So
you're telling me
if-
2 years isn't long?
No, for the
From
prequel.
when season
when
8
season
ends
was
to
ended.
the
Right,
to-
okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry
Yeah,
if
it's
I wasn't
fucking
clear.
ages from now
Yeah,
until
that's what I
season
was
8.
going to say.
Well, yeah. But
It's not that far.
that's good news.
It'll go like that.
It's not
This week has felt like a year.
Okay, well,
You haven't been drinking.
Oh, there was other news
Probably.
as well, not related to Game of Thrones, but the Star Wars 9, it's going to be done by...
J.J. Abrams,
Yeah.
who did The Force Awakens.
Oh, get out, J.J. Abrams.
Yeah, innit? Flipping
Because
out, man.
Colin Trevorrow, who did Jurassic World, was originally doing it, and then they got someone to retweak his script, and then his latest film is called The Book of Henry, did really badly, and then, a few weeks later he's out of the director's chair, and then
I heard they're doing another Jurassic World. Jurassic World. They're trying it up.
Jurassic World 2.
Yeah, I heard something. I haven't read it yet. I'm going to read it and probably say it to you guys in the next thing. But there's a theory that the dinosaurs aren't even real in Jurassic Park.
I heard about this.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned it last week.
Yeah.
Oh, what is it? What's the theory?
they're
I haven't read it, but that's what I'm saying. I'll read it and I'll say about it next week.
In the
But
last
there is
one, they're not real, are they?
No, they are.
Yeah.
What, in Jurassic
World?
The one with Chris Pratt?
Yeah.
I swear they're not real.
No, they are real.
Why would you?
One
would you
got
think
they made a hybrid, didn't they? And then it got loose. And
Yeah,
it started
just because
killing
it's a
people.
theme park doesn't mean they're robots.
No, but I was watching it and I was like, these are, I swear they weren't real. I
They're
swear they were
real.
like,
They're real.
are they sure? You sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, according to a theory,
Yeah.
they might not be, but there's a theory out there that they're not real, and I will read it and I'll try and remember it for the next one.
It's all a dream.
He used to
Bloody
read
lost.
That magazine,
Salt and pepper and heavy D up in the limousine.
hanging pictures on the wall.
All right.
Words are big. Here's a segue for you then. One of the showrunners, or one of the script writers for one of the prequel series for Game of Thrones, is Jane Goldman, and she has written Kingsman 2. Mic drop. Cool. Right. Have we all seen Kingsman: The Golden Circle?
No,
Are you gonna see it?
probably not.
Okay, so you don't
Did you
mind
like the
if we
first one?
talk
I did like
candidly
the
Then
about
you'll
it.
like the second one, then if you like the first one.
So you've seen it. You've seen it.
That's the one thing I could say to people. Like I say at work, someone was like, "Did you enjoy it?" And I said the first thing I say to them is, "Did you enjoy the first one?" If they say no, then I'm like, "Well, there's no point seeing the second one then,
Yeah.
because you won't enjoy."
Because that's what you
the
said to me.
Yeah.
Because you saw it before I did, and I said, "Well, it's not been critically that well received." But you said we've not first.
I pretty much like, as a breakdown goes, I think it's more or less, besides the beginning bit, the same kind of plot.
Yeah. Okay.
It's-
Well, what is the plot? Explain it to us.
So, obviously, I assume it's a few years on from the when Eggsy's been recruited,
Yeah.
and basically this woman has the whole drug empire to herself, and she just basically wants it to be legalized so she can earn her money legally.
Yeah,
Am I
because
right in
she's kind of had to seclude
Oh,
herself.
seclude herself on an island for ages.
Yeah.
So then she blows up the Kingsman so no one gets in her way.
Yeah.
And so the Kingsman, the two left, it's Eggsy and Merlin.
Played by Mark
Merlin
Strong.
is sick, mate. Love Merlin.
What, did
But-
the female Kingsman die?
Yeah, well,
Hey.
I thought, this is it.
Yeah.
She got killed, and I thought she was going to come back somewhere. I thought she was going to like come out the rubble or something and be like,
Yeah, I thought that
That's
as well.
upsetting.
but yeah. And then basically,
Spoilers, by the way, if you haven't seen it.
yeah, true.
This does happen within the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
To be fair.
Well, it's going to be
Put it in
major,
the
major
description,
spoilers
please.
now. So basically, they got to find a way of rebuilding Kingsman, and then they see this bottle which says Statesman. So they go over to the States. Well, they're in,
Kentucky, isn't it?
yeah.
Because
And
it's like we're going
Yeah,
to
'cause it's on
Kentucky,
the
and it's
bottle-
like
it's
like
on-
the fried chicken.
It's at the bottom of the bottle.
Yeah, and then they go there, and it's like the brother company in America, and they're both meant to help each other out in a doomsday scenario.
Yeah.
And then you find out that these drugs actually have some poison in them as well. A major character in this film, which I wasn't expecting, was Elton John as well.
He was there.
Innit? They killed off loads of people, probably so they can bring him
Yeah,
on.
that's it. And basically, they got to have. She's got a cure. She's mass produced a cure, and then basically she thinks that the president is gonna legalize all these drugs. So then she can give them all the cure, and then she'll be rich and allowed to go wherever she wants. But the president has a different idea. He's like, well, if they're all going to die from these drugs, we'll just kill off. He's essentially just labelling them all as scum, and he's just like, oh well, we might as well just let them all die and cut half the population.
Okay.
There'll be no more drug users and no more drugs supplied.
Yeah.
And
War on
therefore-
drugs is over.
Yeah, the war on drugs is over. And basically, the Kingsmen and Statesmen get together and decide that's not cool. One of the Statesmen turns a bit sour because he wants everyone to die from the drugs, and then
Yeah.
Bob's your uncle. They win.
I feel like with this film and on the first one as well, to an extent, like the plot is pretty secondary to just the action and the kind of camaraderie between them, because it's quite a, when you think about it, the plot's kind of a bit silly. Like, so someone manufactures drugs but then wants it to be legalized and already has the cure and wants to cure everybody. It's like, okay, I don't know, like, she didn't seem that nefarious, and I don't know.
She was pretty weak as a character, because as soon as they came to target her one on one,
yeah,
that was it. Game over, really.
And it was also they were fairly quick to establish that the Golden Circle, which is her company, was something, to do with the drug problem. Because, I swear, like, Roxy just Googles something like drugs and comes up with Golden Circle, and they're like, oh yeah, we've heard this Golden Circle thing mentioned a few times. It's like, oh, have you? There wasn't much investigation. It was kind of like, it just pretty...
Do you think it was a spoiler with Colin Firth being shown in the trailers?
Yeah.
I think it was, but I think...
Because he was in the film for a lot of it.
Yeah.
It was like more than 3/4.
I reckon,
so
but
it would
people...
have been difficult for him not to be in the trailers.
But I think people had kind of figured it out before the marketing started, so they were just kind of like...
Might as well just chuck it in.
Yeah, we might as well, people already know this.
On the opposite of that, though, Channing Tatum wasn't really in it.
No.
He was like... he was in the advert loads, and then he ended up being in it for like, I don't know, 20 minutes tops. I think.
He spends most of his time on ice.
Frozen, yeah.
Freezer.
But like, do you know what I mean by the film though? Like, so in the original film, Eggsy getting to a point because he wants to become a Kingsman. Then he's got this big task of saving the world. Because someone has a way of killing off like majority of the population, and then they somehow miraculously win. Same thing here. Not that he's not trying to become a Kingsman, but he's trying to save the Kingsman and like get noticed. Well, essentially noticed by the statesman.
Him and the original Galahad, which is Colin Firth.
Yeah.
Like, essentially their roles just flipped, aren't they? 'Cause
Yeah.
now Eggsy's training
Yeah.
Galahad.
I thought that was quite good though, because I thought straight away he was going to be like doing all this stuff, but his hand-eye coordination was pretty off, wasn't it? So
beating up in the bar.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you all think of the film then? Did you enjoy it?
I really liked it.
You really liked it? Better than the first one?
Really remember the
I
first
think the
one.
first one was better.
I can't remember it, but I
But
think
I was saying to Chris, like, if I give the first one like an 8, I'd give that like a 7.5.
Okay.
I thought it was pretty
yeah, I'd have to agree with Obi on that one.
funny. Good.
It was really
The
funny.
action was decent. I was saying to Chris, once you get past, the only thing that...
It was the gadgets, wasn't it?
is that the gadgets were a bit over the top. But once you get past that, I think it was a quite strong film.
It is a bit outlandish, isn't it? But you just, like you said, suspension of disbelief.
It was more the lasso that really was really off-putting, because he could just like, he had a normal one.
So who's
Then-
this? This is what's his name?
Whiskey. And he had this because obviously they're from Kentucky, so they have like, do they call it lasso?
Lasso,
Or
yeah.
they call- Lasso, that's it. Yeah. And he's like, it's nothing. It's just a handle, and all of a sudden it just extends out into one, and he grabs people with it. Which, okay, fine, I'll take that. And he just clicks a button, it turns into like this heated electricity thing, and it can just chop through everything. And I was like, oh. I mean, yeah, fine, it's a spy film, but that was a bit out of nowhere compared to their gadgets. But yeah, I'll tell you what.
To be fair, their gadgets are pretty nuts as well. They've got like bulletproof umbrellas and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Actually, that suitcase was a bit over the top as well.
Yeah.
Turned into a bloody a shield, riot shield, and a machine gun. Like, what the hell? But yeah, it was a good film. Definitely
It was good.
I'd say so. Mate.
I was annoyed that Merlin died. I was like, oh, man.
Yeah. Do you know what? It's
And that, like, when he was singing that song as well, because he said that I think the song he's singing is by John Denver, and he said like 10 minutes earlier, John Denver was his favourite singer, and he was singing that song, and then he was like.
Did you know that song was by John Denver
Yeah.
when he's?
And then he just like stepped off the mine and killed bare people. I was like, oh man.
I feel like
I was hoping that I thought he was gonna get out of it somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
I thought she was going to turn them off to let them through,
Yeah.
like she did with the other people. But yeah, that didn't
As
happen.
soon as he said, I had a bad feeling. As soon as he was when he was talking to Ginger Ale, whatever her name was, about the
sorry for the background noise, by the way.
when she was talking to Ginger Ale, when she said, "Oh, don't you wish you could ever get out in the field?" and he was like, "Oh no, I love doing this. They wouldn't be able to function without us." I was thinking, as soon as he said that, I was like, "Oh, fucking something bad is probably gonna happen."
You're well good at doing that. You're well good at deducting them things. I just like completely like let them loot. Like I don't really think about it like that.
Did you notice when Whiskey did his whip and there was a bit of slow mo and his whip made a golden circle? And then that's when I knew that he was a dodgy double agent.
I knew it was dodgy when he knocked the fucking vial out of X's hand. I was like, you didn't need to literally, like, Joe, yeah, he's standing Eggsy standing in front of the door with the vial, and there's people coming towards to take him out, yeah. And he's like, the Whiskey's like, get down, slaps the vial out of his hand, and doesn't like move Eggsy down in his bed. All he does is get down, slaps the vial out of the hand, and then he moves over and hides himself. I was thinking like, what kind of logic is that? And Colin Firth caught it. To be fair, I was like, so
That was another thing. Colin Firth. I'm sure Colin Firth like shot him dead in the middle of his face, but instead he only got a graze on his temple.
Maybe it's just because he was dodging.
Mate, that's true. That's true. Actually, I never thought about it like that.
But there were a lot of parallels with the first one. Like, so obviously there's the bar fight, which they just kind of switched it up a bit. I do kind of wish with sequels that they didn't. And obviously, calling back to the first film's fun, but try and do something a little bit more original. I actually quite liked the film. I thought it was enjoyable. It was funny. I feel like I laughed more at this one than I remember laughing in the first one. But mostly that's just because Elton John was just shouting and swearing in his ridiculous costume.
That was weird.
But yeah, I don't feel like Merlin needed to step on the landmine. Like, you know, he'd frozen it and they probably could have got out of the way. I don't know. And also, I do feel like I do want him to come back, but I would be a little bit like, it's a cop out because no one seems to really die in these things. It's like, you know, Colin Firth's back to life, and you know that gel thing they put around people's heads to.
I can't feel sorry for his mate though. He's looking after his dog. He's just like doing the guy a favour and just died.
Yeah.
The first 1 minute of the film, like, jeez.
When I went, so I don't know if this was same for you, but there were a lot of old people in the cinema. And I'm saying old, like,
they were loving all the other
above
yeah.
40, 50.
So,
Yeah, they were loving all the
one
other
bloke was loving when so the main guy was he Scotch? No, what was the main guy's name?
What, champagne?
Champagne, yeah.
What?
Bane.
Jeff Bridges.
Yeah, when Jeff Bridges was getting, I think he got the whiskey and he just went like that.
It
And this
went-
guy just
well-
started cracking up, and I was like, "What's so funny about this?"
For the you know the listeners that can't see what you just did, what was he doing?
rubbing whiskey across his moustache.
right.
But what does that mean? Does that mean something to anyone here?
Smelling it.
Don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's how you can tell good whiskey. You should wipe your Jackie D on your
Jack on my face.
your pathetic attempt at a moustache there.
He would shower in it, mate. He'd shower in it.
Do you not feel that?
I just heard that.
So there are a lot of famous people in this, and they're not all in it for very long. Do you kind of feel like when they were introducing them, it was a bit like a money shot? It's like, hey, look who we've got in this film. Like there'd always be like a zoom into their face, and there was a little kind of knowing kind of look at the camera, like, oh, we've got Jeff Bridges, we've got Channing Tatum, Halle
Dumbledore
Berry,
as well, didn't they?
yeah, what's his name, Michael Gambon,
Yeah.
even Elton John, and you're like,
He was in it quite a bit though.
I quite like it when it's kind of more subtle, that you know you don't kind of shout and scream about who you've got in your film because it's a bit.
But not so subtle that you don't even know, like Daniel Craig being a stormtrooper in Force Awakens.
Yeah, that's
more him doing it because he wanted to be part of Star Wars, though, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
But do you feel like they're definitely setting up for a third one?
Oh, apparently it's already been announced.
It feels like they were, yeah.
Because obviously Halle Berry's now the new whiskey, so she'll be.
And Channing
involved.
Tatum was back in
He's
London, didn't he?
Kingsman now,
Yeah, Kingsman.
Yeah.
With the bowler hat.
Yeah.
He didn't. He looked well out of place.
I would have liked him to be in it more, but if he's in the third one, then you know, fair enough. It'd be nice to see them team up against a bigger bad guy.
It's nice. It's not very often that you find sequels that are like equally as strong or better than the first one. But I feel like they did a pretty good job.
No, I disagree, mate. Wasn't as good.
Was that when
No, well, I'm saying it was like, but it was pretty close.
It's
You know what I
like
mean?
when we saw.
Like I said, if I give the first one an 8, I'd give that 7.5. I say it was pretty good. Because normally when you have a sequel, I would say they're normally much worse than the first one.
Yeah.
What's your rating of it then?
Actually, In Between was strong as well. Thinking about that.
I think I
I'd
prefer
probably
the
give it a
second
7.
7?
Or just under a 7, but not a 6.5.
But when we
6.75.
so when we went to the Empire Live podcast, obviously Matthew Vaughn and Mark Strong were there, and Matthew Vaughn, who's the director, said that the reason he has never done a sequel before is because he never felt like they were as good, and he said they only did this one because he felt like, well, he said he saw it more as a continuation than an actual sequel, hence why it's not called Kingsman 2. It's just like a continuation of the first one.
More like Slash, he wanted to redo his kitchen at home.
Well, he said he kind of did that with X-Men Days of Future Past, because he... Was it that one? He said he just... No, Kick-Ass 2. He said he kind of produced that just because he wanted the money. He didn't
Oh,
know it.
sellout, man. Fucking
Innit?
hell.
If you're getting a few mil, then...
I mean,
I thought it was pretty good,
Fuck
Kick-Ass
that.
too. Not as good as one, but Pretty
Oh,
good.
I didn't like Kick-Ass 2. So Kingsman 2 we'd all recommend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would watch the third one if it came out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's also been people suggesting that Taron Egerton could be the next Bond because he's obviously
Oh no.
young and in a spy franchise.
No, I don't think so.
He's
Yeah.
too young. Eggsy from
Oh, right,
Kingsman.
okay.
I think he's too young.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I don't think no. Just
Pulls off a suit pretty well though.
I think Daniel Craig does pretty well as 007 personally.
Yeah, but he's. I think this is the next Bond 26 or whatever is going to be his last one.
Yeah, I know.
That's what he said about Spectre.
Yeah, but then they offered him bare money.
Exactly.
I think honestly, I think he pulls it off really well. Some people would disagree with me because they don't think he's like suave enough, but I think he.
What, Eggsy?
Who?
No,
Daniel Craig.
yeah.
Yeah, but
I like
there
Daniel
was loads of controversy because he was like, I fucking hate it, I'd never do it again.
Yeah.
This is what allegedly he said. Yeah. Okay.
Probably is quite stressful. They're long films, like stunts, majority of it.
Yeah, he's got nothing else to do all year. He's
Yeah.
like in peak physical
true.
fitness.
Yeah, true.
This is
Like, millions of pounds and
Yeah.
dollars to jump around and
You've got
tend
nothing
shoot
to
people.
complain about, Daniel.
What else have we seen at cinema this week?
So, what's the other one? American Assassin. Have we all seen that?
Yep.
No,
Are you gonna watch it?
I don't even know what it is.
Okay,
So
well,
probably not.
spoilers. We didn't
Yeah,
spoil
go
it
for
last
it.
week,
Spoil
so
it.
we could talk
Yeah.
more in detail about it this week. So, who saw it this week? You two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw it.
Oops, have you seen it?
He's seen it already.
Yeah, I've seen it.
You've seen it
To be
already?
fair, I thought more about you saying he wasn't really an assassin. I was trying to do the count, and it counts to about at least 10 people he kills.
Okay. What's the threshold for an assassin?
I don't know, mate. I don't know. He looked more like an assassin at the very end of the film because he was going to assassinate someone.
Yeah,
Nah.
that was
Yeah.
but
The other
I
ones.
feel- yeah, the
The-
other ones. I don't
The
feel
only,
like-
the only
yeah,
one
feel
where I
very-
feel like he was assassin in the actual film was the hotel room because he snuck in.
Yeah.
He killed the guard. He killed the guy.
Yeah. I feel like an assassin needs to be more clandestine.
Stealthy.
Yeah. Rather than like an agent who just walks in and shoots people.
Yeah. But apparently, it's like this person I was speaking to said it's completely different to the book. Like the guy who's his mate who gets stabbed. Not his mate. The other agent who gets stabbed.
Yeah, yeah.
It's apparently meant to be a main character in the 14-book series,
Okay.
and that guy's meant to turn into a villain in the 14-book series, but he's not.
Well, maybe he will. He'll come back
No.
alive.
No.
What was it that we found odd about it? Not odd, but maybe
the
silly.
the bit where I don't know. I just found it confusing. So the girl, he was like, the girl knew about the person called Ghost or whatever, and then the main character. I can't remember the main character's name. Mitch. No, not Mitch. I don't know. But he was like, yeah, how do you know about Ghost? Then he started drowning her. So I was thinking, okay, yeah, she's a spy or something like that. So then the next day, they had her all like tied up and whatnot. And then he was like, oh, I need you. So then he broke her free so they could go and catch the bad guy. But I thought she was working with the bad guy. That's why he was trying to drown him the day before. And then and then they got to the bit where what's his face was being kept. Michael Keaton was being kept. And then she was like, I want to die. Kills herself. And I was like, oh, alright then.
Yeah, that was really random actually.
I just didn't get
But
it.
then, to be fair, before she got in the car, she didn't know that her uncle had died.
Okay.
So then, once she knew her uncle was died, she
She's like,
had
"I
no
wanna be with my
family
family."
left.
Okay.
So that's why she killed herself. That's my deduction there. But I thought she was part of the bad group. But she made it sound like she was then part of a third group that we didn't know about.
Yeah, I feel like if you're gonna kind of if there's gonna be a twist that one of the kind of quote unquote good people it turns out to be a double agent or whatever, there needs to be a little bit of foreshadowing at least. Like there didn't seem to be.
I thought they were gonna have a love
kind of, like,
interest.
there's no like secret phone calls and you're like, oh, who's she calling?
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, oh, she's a bad guy. Or he just kind of figures it out. He's talking to her and he's like, oh yeah, he's a bad guy. Oh, okay, cool. And then next minute she's back on the good side.
And the CIA is super incompetent.
And CIA really, really, really wants to push this guy to be an agent for no apparent reason whatsoever.
But they end up so is Mitch, isn't it? Like he tracks the villain through his cell phone. I'm like, okay, if you're that bad,
Through his
then-
cell phone.
yeah, doesn't he's they're like tracking him on the car, and they get to the location in that housing estate, because based on his GPS.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like, if you're a part of like a supervillain organisation, you at least make sure people can't track you that easily.
Yeah, if you don't get signal, you can't send a text, and why can they track your phone?
I also feel like I would have been more interested in the film if it was him actually targeting the terrorists and taking them out, because that started off as the plot, and then very quickly it changed to this ghost guy.
Yeah.
And then the stakes were so high with like, nuclear bomb.
That was fucking stupid, I think.
6 CGI though, I'll give you that.
Yeah,
I
loved Michael Keaton getting tortured. He is such a fucking cool guy.
He's weirdo, man.
He is that. You know what that scene reminded me on? Have any of you seen South Park with Mel Gibson in? And he's like, squeeze my nipples, go on, squeeze my nipples. And he's like telling them how to torture him. Yes.
No, it's weird, man.
No, when they pulled out his now, oh.
And they killed probably about 3 million fish.
Yeah, exactly.
And other sea life.
Mate, them fishermen should be getting in there. Like, I know they'll be all
Radioactive.
yeah. Turning 3 fish like Simpsons, isn't it?
Also, but then like there was a part where Dylan O'Brien's character drives the car into their kind of lair, and then like it blows up. But at this point, we didn't know that the nuclear bomb had been removed. And I'm thinking, you don't want any explosions anywhere near a nuclear bomb because it's just going to blow up.
This is true. Although he had no idea the nuclear bomb was in there, he just was going to save Michael Keaton, wasn't he?
Fair enough. What did you two think of it then? Did you enjoy it?
I enjoyed it. Obviously, some of it was a bit like, what the hell's happening? But I thought it was quite good. Probably between 6.5 and a 7, I'd say.
Would you watch another one if it came out?
Probably wouldn't actively go cinema, but I would probably watch it at some point.
Yeah, I thought it was decent.
I love the montages and the training and the building up of the character, as opposed to, because like the next one would just be like him, like the same thing, innit? But like the Kingsman, so it's just like following on. So he's already this super amazing assassin, and he might come up against a big boss who's a little bit better.
Yeah. We also went to Odeon's Scream Unseen. So this is their sister of the Screen Unseen, but this is for
meant to
horror
make you
film.
scream.
Should have been a horror film. The film was called The Ritual. We were kind of, well, I was hoping it'd be Flatliners. It didn't turn out to be that. So The Ritual is a British, and I say it's loosely horror film, where it starts off with 5 friends in the pub talking about where they want to go on a lad's holiday, and
basically one of them's not grown up and he really wants to go on a proper lad's holiday, and the others are like, I want to go on a mellow one.
Yeah, so they want to go like hiking in Sweden or something.
That sounds very familiar. But
and then so Rafe Spall's the main character.
Do you want to go hiking through Sweden, mate?
Yeah.
It'd be beautiful. So Rafe Spall's the main character. I can't remember his name. I can't remember any of their names, to be honest. That's how much I didn't really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Anyway, he wants to carry on drinking, so he goes into a convenience store with one of his other mates just to get a bottle of vodka. Then the convenience store is actually in the process of being robbed by some thugs, and Rafe Spall's mate ends up dying
because of Rafe Spall as well.
Yeah,
no, actually, both of them. They're both dumb. So they both see this incident happen. This woman is on the floor, beaten to a pulp. These 2 guys rock up out of the cupboard. They haven't spotted the 2 main characters yet, or the 2 characters. One of them quickly ducks behind an aisle and gets cover and knocks a bottle. So they then turn and see the other guy. Right. And the other guy just stands there, and they're like, give me your wallet, your phone. And he's like, okay. He's like, we can calm down. And they're like, give me your phone. He's like, all right. Gives it, and then they're like, we want your wedding ring. And he's like, oh, I can't give you my wedding ring. And they're like, just give me your wedding ring. I'm like, they've got a machete in their hand. Give them your bloody wedding ring.
Yeah.
And then he gets his face sliced in and then hit in the head again, and he's all bloody and dead.
Nice.
Yeah, and then so Rafe Spall feels really guilty, and then it kind of cuts to 6 months later, and they're actually hiking in Sweden, the 4 of them, and then they kind of pay a little tribute to their fallen friend. But all throughout there's kind of this tension that some of the friends kind of blame Rafe Spall for not helping him, helping their friend out a bit more. But obviously it would have endangered himself. It's kind of like one of those
Catch-22.
What would you do in that situation? So it kind of didn't really start off as much of a horror film. Like it was kind of I don't know, like not a coming of age film because they're all like in their mid 30s or early 40s, but it was kind of like a friendship kind of drama, kind of getting over the loss of their friend, and then one of their friends, whilst they're hiking, like breaks his ankle or hurts his knee, and so they want to take a shortcut through these woods, and then they kind of seek sanctuary from the rain in this cabin.
You missed a bit. On the way to the cabin, they see a dead deer just stuck in a tree.
Oh yeah, it's all gutted.
Nice.
And they see all these weird like symbols and stuff, and then
Turn around. Go.
Literally.
Blair Witch Project.
yeah, well during the night in this cabin, like they all have nightmares, and there's this weird kind of
Scarecrow with no head.
Yeah, scarecrow in the loft, and then after that point, they all sort of have weird like visions.
One wets himself. The other one is praying naked to the scarecrow. The other one's having a nightmare and he's just in the corner like, no, don't touch me, don't touch me. And then the other one wakes up outside the cabin with 3 holes in his chest there.
Yeah, so Rafe Spore is like kind of antlers,
Right.
Like dead.
prongs.
No, he's alive though.
He's just like they're like shallow
Oh,
wounds.
right.
Anyway, so then they kind of carry on walking through his woods, and then they kind of slowly get picked off one by one by this monster, which you don't really see.
It was just, can I just say, the film was so illogical because their logic was, so they got to this cabin, the main character was really suspect to the cabin, and then they then all realised after having this trauma that they needed to get through this forest as soon as possible. So in my head, logically, you'd go back the way you came because it would be quicker than going through a forest you don't know where the exit is, like on the other side kind of thing. So you're like, there's the entrance. Well, so the entrance is like half a day away, while the exit could be 3 days away. They had no idea. And I was just like, go back on yourself, and they just wouldn't go back on themselves. It just really drove me insane. And then there was this guy. They were like, you need to head southwest. Yeah. One of the guys decided, oh, there's a clear path over there, which had been chopped down. The path had been chopped away
Yeah.
to indicate that is the trap, and he went down it.
Yeah, and obviously, like during their kind of trip through the forest, like one of them's like, "Oh, it was your fault. Thingy died."
Smacks him in the nose.
You know,
Right.
conflict, and then they get picked off one by one and end up all.
Oh, but the
pretty
main
bad.
character has been selected to be one of the, because basically you find out there's like this whole cult of people who worship this godlike creature,
Right.
and he's been chosen to be part of that group
Yeah.
because they become immortal,
Right.
so they can't die unless this thing kills them.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's like we were saying the other day, like I think we said it in the podcast, do you think it's scary when you can't see the monster?
Yeah.
In this case, yeah, it is.
Because the monster was ridiculous. It was like this. It was like it looked like a huge kind of antelope or deer or something
Yeah.
like that.
Right.
But it was made of like tree.
Yeah,
Or
and then like a
wood.
spider
It
face.
had like. Do you know what the underside of like a stingray looks like? It's got that little smiley face.
Yeah.
Kind of had one of those faces, right? It's kind of like a deer with a stingray face,
Yeah.
and like hands on the side where its ears would be, and it was just looked absolutely ridiculous. I thought it was so
Yeah,
stupid,
and it was huge as well.
and I was just like laughing when I saw it.
But he didn't die, and he couldn't leave the forest.
So anyway, so like you get like the film's probably less than 2 hours long,
Yeah, it was like
hour and a half
hour and a
ish.
half. Yeah.
But anyway, so the first like hour and 10 minutes is them being picked off walking through the woods, and then Rafe Spall and the guy who accuses him of basically leading to his friend's death, they're obviously the ones who remain, and then not Rafe Spall, the other one. Literally, I can't remember their names. I'm so sorry. I'm kind of doing what Chris does when he describes a film, but
That guy. You know
just that guy, the guy with glasses.
Yeah.
He ends up being sacrificed, and then so like the monster thing picks him up, puts him on a tree. Very quickly, he's death, and then Rafe Spall like tries to fight this thing with a gun, and then but the thing is, this is what I didn't understand as well.
Yeah.
Is the monster, picks him up the same as he would with any of his victims, but then puts him back down and just like smushes his face in the mud, and then proceeds to like walk away. At which point, Rafe Spall then shoots him, and he comes back and again doesn't try and kill him, and then Rafe Spall just runs away. I was like, the logic of the monster as well has just completely changed, and it just didn't make any sense. And the whole kind of reasoning for why people are being picked off that is explained very quickly right at the end. I just thought it was ridiculous.
Yeah, I won't lie.
Shit.
I'm gonna give this a 2.
Yeah, it really wasn't good.
Ooh.
It does sound
The
shit.
only reason I'm not giving it a 1 is because I thought the main character had some sense in his head.
It wasn't that suspenseful either.
No.
It was just kind of like, there was no. I didn't really feel that particularly tense. I didn't really connect with any of the characters.
No.
Has anyone seen either the film The Witch with Anya Taylor-Joy or Troll Hunter, which is a Norwegian film?
I started watching Troll Hunter, but I got bored because nothing was happening.
Well, that's
yeah.
So this film.
It's
It's
like a
very-
A-level project, isn't it? You
Yeah,
just go
yeah.
into the woods with a camera.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh my god, there's something there. And then your mate's like shaking a tree.
Yeah.
When I was watching this film, which is called The Ritual, I was thinking of Troll Hunter, not just because it's set in Scandinavia, but I genuinely thought the monster would turn out to be a troll. And also, in Troll Hunter, when you do eventually see the troll, it looks ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it fucking like a 2-story
Yes, it's
tall monster?
Yeah.
stupid.
See, I think I know you were saying that you think it's scary when you don't see monsters, which is fine. I think if a villain is like a person, like a mad person, I think that would do me just as much as
Yeah.
something that I can't see.
Yeah.
Because at least you can kind of relate to it. As
Yeah.
if it's like an alien, you're like, well, I've got no connection to that whatsoever.
Yeah.
So it's out of this world.
But yeah, I really would not recommend watching The
No.
Ritual.
I wouldn't. He got a decent rating as well, which really surprised me.
Yeah, I don't know. This is why we're not professional critics, but maybe maybe we should be. And
Let's move on from that. I feel
Yeah.
like that's
I watched Blade Runner, the original 82
okay.
version, because I know that Blade Runner 2049 is coming out soon. So I wanted to rewatch the original in preparation for this.
Harrison Ford's back in it.
But my God, it was boring, man. It was so boring. Like, this is a film that everyone considers like a cult classic, and I have watched it before. I just couldn't remember anything about it. This film is 2 hours long, and it is the most slow-paced thing ever. So it's set in the future, which, funny enough, from the 80s was 2019. So
Oh, wow.
we're only a year and a half away from when this was set.
Buying cars in 2 years, please.
Yeah. So basically, Harrison Ford plays someone called Deckard, who is a Blade Runner, and a Blade Runner is basically a police force that hunt down replicants. Replicants are human-looking, kind of advanced. They're not
Nice.
really robots, but they're kind of artificial creations. They have like a 4-year lifespan, but they're stronger than humans, more intelligent, super
Right.
basically humans. And they're supposed to do off-planet kind of stuff, like clearing planets so people can, move there.
Yeah.
But then they come to Earth to try and find their creator to extend their life, because they don't want to die after 4 years.
Right.
But because they're going around killing people, Deckard needs to kind of hunt them down.
To it.
Yeah.
Sounds like a robot.
A little bit, yeah.
It
It's
sounds like the plot from the new film.
It
If you've
might-
seen the trailer,
Yeah, it might well be, to be honest. So there's 4 of them, right? But I mean, this is set in it's like neo-noir, so everything's like really dark and like it's really difficult to kind of make anything out. But the pacing of it's so slow, like it's just a lot of talking, and then when he does finally meet one of the replicants, like there isn't really much action. They don't fight for very long. He just kind of shoots them and that's it, and then they move on. And there's like a subplot where he meets this woman who is a replicant but doesn't realise it. And by the end of it, spoilers, but by the end of it, they fall in love. But there isn't really much suggestion of them falling in love.
Right.
It's just kind of like, I think you see her like 3 points throughout the film, and by the end of it, they're in love. And I was like, okay.
Fair enough.
And then
no, you can't question love.
the big,
God.
the main replicant, who's played by Rutger Hauer. If you've ever seen Hobo with a Shotgun, he's the hobo.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he's in it, and he's fighting Deckard, and then Deckard falls, but is saved by, I think his name's Rick Batty or something like that. He's a Batty. He ends up saving him, and then just allows himself to die. And I was like, what? So I spent 2 hours watching. I thought it'd be more action-packed than this, but it was kind of one of those.
When you say action, so I'm going back. You said that Harrison Ford's character meets one of the robot things, and he shoots him instead of engaging in a fight. If these things are more clever and stronger, why the fuck would you not just shoot in the head?
I know.
Like with Indiana Jones, there was that scene with the guy with the sword,
whip, yeah.
and he's like, apparently he was ill that day, so he's just like, well, I've got a gun,
Bang, bang.
shoot him.
Yeah.
Your logic is flawed, Glenn.
I know.
Boom.
But it was just
Harrison
kind of...
Ford knows what he's doing. He's got a gun, he's just going to shoot
It
it.
was just like a very slow-paced kind of science fiction
Detective
film. There wasn't even much detective going on. Like, he wasn't actually that good a... You know, he wasn't really the hero. Like, I think he kills 2 of them. One of them dies on its own accord, and his lover kills the other one. I don't know. I think I was expecting a lot more from it. I will obviously see the new one, but I don't know. It was just kind of like one of those moody kind of sci-fi, really slow-paced. Visually, it was pretty good considering it's made in the 80s, but I don't know. It wasn't my cup of tea.
Meh for you.
So, are you worried about the new one then?
Not worried about it because I like the actors and I like the director, so I'm hoping it'll be.
But from the trailers, do you think it looks better? I mean, regardless, for the point that, you know, it's 30 years apart and obviously special effects are going to be much better.
Well, I feel like there'll be more of a villain in this. So, like, obviously Jared Leto feels like he's going to be quite an integral part of this.
Do you meet the creator? And do the AIs meet the creator?
Yeah.
And do all the AIs die? The 4?
Yeah, the 4 do.
I thought you said he falls in love with one.
So, well, there's 4 kind of villainous ones. The one he meets, her name's Rachel, because there's a test you can do to determine if someone's a replicant, right? So he asks them a lot of questions, and he's trying to stimulate an emotional response, because the whole thing is, you know, in a lot of science fiction as well, is that you can recreate intelligence, blah, 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 but you can't recreate emotion and memory. So he asks her questions to try and elicit a emotional response, but by the end of it, he says, "You're a replicant." She's like, "I'm not a replicant." Like, she thinks she's human because she has memories of her mother, but they're implanted.
Right.
Yeah. So he kills the four main ones die, and then she's alive, but he gets told to kill her as well because she's a replicant, but he doesn't. There's also several theories that Deckard is in himself a replicant because I think it's the creator, or even Rachel says to him, "Oh, have you ever done this test?" He's like, "No." But he has these dreams of unicorn, and there's one of his colleagues who is a human makes origami figures and leaves them at the kind of sites where replicants have been.
Right.
And he leaves a unicorn in Deckard's room, which suggests that, you know, he knows what his memories are because they're implanted. I don't know. There's Ridley Scott, who's the director, said that he thinks Deckard is a replicant, but it's kind of open to your interpretation.
But if they only live for 4 years,
This is my
and
thing.
he's turning up in this film,
This is
the
my
new
thing.
one.
This is my thing. Maybe
it's a
Innit?
special one.
I was just thinking as well, surely for the first one, so if Harrison Ford falls in love with one, he knows that she's going to die. Maybe he might be like, "Oh, I'm going to do the job that, you know, the ones that I'm hunting down are going to are also trying to do to live longer."
They look like they look like forgot his name, was going to Harrison Ford for help in the trailers.
Ryan Gosling.
That's
Yeah.
one.
Also, interestingly, when I was reading up on it, Ridley Scott, who obviously did Alien, he said that there's a kind of link between them in the sense that, you know, in Prometheus, it's all about Michael Fassbender wanting to meet his creator, who's Guy Pearce. Apparently, Guy Pearce's character, I can't remember his name, Shaw, maybe?
Yeah.
His mentor was Tyrell, who is the creator of the replicants. So it's one of those things that, you know, it's one of their the same universe.
Ridley Scott's universe.
Could be the Scottiverse.
Is there an alien just at the background behind Harrison Ford who's just like, "Oh," start running in the other room?
What else? What have you lot seen then? Anything worth mentioning?
Did you say anything?
Joe, you've not been for a long time. Tell us more of what you've been watching.
I watched a documentary on Netflix called Fed Up, and it's basically on how the government has sort of manufactured how food is getting worse, if that makes sense.
Worse in quality or health or price or what?
Is it good?
Yeah, it is a good. It's opened my eyes to how you should be eating, really.
Okay.
Because basically it tells you how back in the day, I can't remember the date of it, the president of the United States at the time brought through, or the government at the time brought through, that basically food had to be, there had to be no fat in food. But obviously when you take...
Is this in America?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, the government said basically you got to get rid of the fat in
much for
food
audience.
because it will make people get really fat,
Yeah.
obviously. So then to replace the fat in food, to make it taste nice, you put sugar in,
Which turns into fat.
which turns into fat, but a more concentrated fat, which makes you fatter. And it basically it goes through the story of how that has turned into what we are now with, for example, in the schools, the kids eating pizzas, burgers, hot dogs, nothing nutritious and all processed rubbish, which is making them fatter, unhealthy, and basically just ruining their
How
lives.
did you find out about this? This doesn't sound like your kind of thing.
We always watches stuff like this.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, my brother actually showed it to me, but yeah, this is the sort
You're
of
part of the vegan movement now. Is it going to all be
No.
on your Facebook?
It's
like,
just a
Jay,
Southern
it's
Fried
just
Chicken.
gonna-
I mean, yeah.
I mean,
this is not very good.
It's taught him something, but at the same time, KFC.
Okay,
still number one.
so carry on.
Sainsbury's meal deal.
Yeah.
So what's so does it follow the government?
Yeah, so it basically just follows the story of how food has changed and basically how food manufacturers or food producers like McDonald's or people that produce hot dogs are basically just pumping a load of crap into food, making it taste nice, making it addictive, plus advertising it to kids on Kid TV to make sure they go out and buy it. And it's basically just blown companies like McDonald's, KFC, Pizza Hut out of proportion and basically saying that you shouldn't eat it anymore.
Okay, so how does it kind of? So is this a documentary that's balanced, or is it very much the agenda of you shouldn't eat at these places or this particular type of food?
It's very much of the agenda you shouldn't eat at the places.
And what does it do to kind of dissuade you from that? Does it show like graphic images of people's stomachs?
No,
or,
it,
you know.
It just basically gives you facts of what's in the food you're eating and how that is affecting your body in bad ways.
Okay.
Basically.
I don't think that's enough for some people.
No, because I think we all understand
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
we eat can be bad, but does it shock you into?
Well, this is the thing as well. It has 3 school kids, and those school kids are basically telling their stories of they're overweight, they're obese kids, and they're basically telling their story of how they're struggling to try and lose that weight because of the food that they're getting advertised and pumped into the schools, and basically how it's just a losing battle for everyone to try and lose weight.
I think it's a difficult topic because I think like food is essentially, obviously, this is different scaling completely here, similar to cigarettes in this case.
Yeah.
It's addictive.
It's
Yeah.
addictive, yeah. And like on cigarette packets, their idea to stop people from doing it is to have pictures of like doing it. So, and that doesn't even dissuade a lot of people.
No.
Dissuades
Yeah,
a
but
word.
They say
Yeah,
like,
dissuade-
sugar and caffeine
more
is
Yeah,
more
it's more
addictive than
addictive.
cocaine.
Yeah.
and-
So my point is though, like, so obviously you give them facts to people, and it will obviously trigger some people to be like, oh my god, that's alarming. I shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
And you show pictures, and again, it'll alarm people, but I don't think it'll be enough. Like it's got to be like it's your mental state about it all really, or you got to balance it. You
But
got
that's-
to do
that-
one thing with another thing
Yeah.
that's which is equally as healthy as it is bad. Kind of.
But that's the thing. This documentary.
Is it situated in America? This documentary is it England?
no,
Okay.
it's in America.
Okay.
The documentary brought up
Bigger than much
a statistic of basically what a calorie is. So, for example, if you went to McDonald's and you got a medium Coke, for example, that's X amount of calories. But to burn off that one Coke, you have to work out or run for an hour and a half. And it's just like, is that one Coke worth an hour and a half of exercise? And no one does that hour and a half of exercise, and some people drink
Hour and a half exercise.
Yeah.
Is this,
burn off that
is
one
this a
Coke.
full fat
10
Coke?
minutes of sex.
Yeah, this is a full fat
Yeah.
Coke.
So does it
10 minutes?
Does it-
Oh, we'll be so lucky.
does it offer any comment on
The
kind of
di-
low calorie or
Right, yeah.
fat free things?
Yeah, so for example, a Diet Coke which has 0 calories, the calories don't really mean anything because to make it sweeter and taste sort of nice, they pump a load of
aspartame.
Something else that's not good.
fructose, corn syrup, sweeteners, which are worse than sugar in some cases because basically you're ingesting the sweeteners, your body thinks it's getting sugar,
So it releases insulin.
so it releases insulin and basically just fucks up your kidney. And in some ways, diet is worse than full fat.
Yeah.
That's alright then.
Okay.
That's alright.
So how has it affected the way that you eat or think about food?
I feel like the 24 hours after you watch it, oh my god, veg, just like organic everything.
Yeah,
after that.
So I watched it a week ago, and basically in the last week I've stopped drinking fizzy drinks. I don't drink fizzy drinks anymore, and I'm trying to cut down on what I'm eating. But because of my work, I'm going to some places that has nothing around it but fast food.
It's just easy.
Can you not bring lunch with you?
I could, but
Prepare.
I'm lazy.
Okay.
But
One of the problems in the documentary.
Yeah.
But it opened my eyes to what I should be eating and what I shouldn't be eating. So basically, I'm just trying to cut out processed food. Don't look at that.
To be fair though, like, so you're saying like documentary and stuff. I was watching this like on Facebook. They have these 60-second video things where they give you like. It's like the 60-second documentaries, which are actually quite interesting, and then there's this one where it gives you facts about stuff. So the one I saw the other day was how much water you should consume a day, and I thought it was 2 litres, but actually it's meant to be 3 litres a day you're meant to consume.
Okay.
and like apparently like helps your metabolism a lot more, clears your skin up because you're hydrating your whole body. I was like,
shouldn't you have like a pint of water in the morning to kick your start your metabolism?
Well, you're meant to, if you feel hungry, having a glass of water should fill you up.
Yeah,
but this is the thing as well.
Well, not fill you up, but not make you as hungry.
Yeah, coming off of that point, I watched a video years ago on YouTube about how much water you should consume, and that person that was doing that basically said you should drink as much, basically drink when you're thirsty. Don't overdo it, because obviously when you drink too much water you dissolve all the salt in your body and then you get complications because of that.
Yeah, because they did say in this thing as well that you like, so like there's people who have the glass of water and they will just like gulp it all down, but you're actually meant to take just sips. You're not meant to just, if you got a glass of water, you just take a few sips and shouldn't do any more than that really. But you should collectively then drink a glass before you have your, like an hour before you go and have food or something.
So then when this
this is a different thing now. So when you have the food,
screw the film.
It's interesting though. So all this stuff is interesting.
So there's a couple of other Netflix documentaries which I've heard of, not seen. I think one's about the dairy industry and how bad that is, and one also about I think it might have been a vegan inspired documentary, but it's about meat and again how the what's it called? What's that industry called? Not pasture.
Poultry?
Well, yeah, you know, like animals that go out to pasture and they're used for food.
I don't know what pasturing means.
Oh, like fields.
Free range.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so animals that, you know, graze a patch of land, but just to be killed. I'm sure there's a particular word for it. I can't think of it at the
moment.
Free
range?
No. But like, the meat industry essentially, and how it's all really bad for us.
Well, that's the thing. On the Fed Up as well, it goes into the dairy scene, and basically, obviously, back then in the old days, like 1950s or whatever, you always got full fat milk from cows, but then obviously they cut out the fat in foods, so they produce skimmed milk, but that's left over a load of milk that is just basically going to go bad. But they turned it into cheese. Processed cheese, shit cheese, cheese strings, Baby Bells, stuff like that. Burger cheese.
You want some cheese on that salad?
Which then the government started to push forward into TV and advertise all this shitty cheese, and that's basically created the cheese market and created a load of shit cheese that we're not supposed to be eating.
Talking about shit cheese, I don't know how I'm going to get how I've added to 1 and 1 to get 2 here. Literally, not literally. That's not even the word that's even related to this topic at all. So basically, have you seen like how they do advertisements for like fast food and stuff and like cereal? like they don't actually cook the burger all the way through.
Oh,
So they like sear the top so it looks nice and crisp, and then
Yeah.
they perfectly put the lettuce, and they don't cook the burger all the way
Yeah,
through so it's
yeah.
not burnt. I think that's mad. And like, I think one cereal advert, it doesn't have milk in the bowl,
So
it has
it's
glue.
PBA.
I was like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
I was like, it's a good idea because it like attracts people
Well,
to it, but
it looks attractive. It's
Yeah.
food porn, isn't
it's
it?
just like so mad.
Food porn.
Food porn. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I would like. Maybe I might watch that
But
because
yeah.
I'd like to.
See,
Have
this
to kick up the
podcast, we talk and we watch everything and
Yeah.
anything.
Joe, like it. Good
Yeah.
suggestion, mate.
Yeah.
Wait, let's all
What,
watch
was
the
that on
doc.
Netflix, did you say?
Yeah, that was on Netflix.
Thing is, I'm
Oh.
actually quite hungry now. You said about that.
I was actually thinking about getting a KFC earlier.
Yeah.
Changed my mind.
Nah.
Pizza's apparently the most addictive food, followed by chocolate.
Pizza is one of the most addictive foods, but Pizza Hut is the worst one because it doesn't actually use real cheese.
Oh,
Really?
That's
you
why-
just slated Pizza
I-
Hut.
we
Right, oh.
we like- I
It
love-
uses a lard
Here comes
based
the
cheese.
lawsuit.
Yeah.
I love Pizza Hut, don't worry. I get it every time I come back from a holiday.
Joe Simpson's views do not fully represent those of your Average Critics podcast.
Oh, please, no, let's get Chris's story about Valentine's Day. Get the pizza.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Please. Oh,
It must be in a podcast somewhere. It can't be in. I'll do.
Save it for another time, maybe.
In February, I'll do the story. God, my life is
What
so
have you been
sad.
watching recently?
You're
You're pretty quiet. I don't know if you're knackered or.
No, I'm just
Partying all night, mate.
That's all.
He's
I
thinking
watched
about us.
I watched 3 films actually yesterday. I watched a Chinese film called Wolf Warrior.
What? So sorry. What was?
Wolf Warrior?
Oh, okay.
I think I've heard of that.
The only reason I wanted to watch it was because there's Wolf Warrior 2, and that's like one of the highest grossing films of 2017 so far.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's the
Wow.
only foreign language film I think to be in the top 20 highest grossing films ever or something.
Can you write it down
Oh,
for me
wow.
on the other page where I've written fed up, please?
Yeah. Anyway, carry on.
Quarter
Sorry.
to.
So yeah, it's the first one's not great. Apparently the second one's better than the first. This first one's okay. It's basically this guy. Obviously, it's all set in China. This guy who's in the Chinese army, and he kills a. Do you guys mind if I spoil it? I don't know.
Oh, yeah, go
No,
for
no,
it. Yeah,
go
go
for
for
it.
it, mate. Yeah.
So he kills a drug dealer right at the start of the film, but without the consent of his commanding officer. So then he goes to his base or whatever to be reprimanded, and they're basically like, "Why did you do this? Why did you not follow the orders of your commanding officer?" And he basically just like, because he's a sniper, he's basically just like, because I'm that good. So they're like, "Okay, you've got. I like to cut your jib. We'll send you to." So they send them to this special. I think they call them the Wolf Warriors. They call them the Wolf something. I think this special base that's basically like an offset group of the whatever their army is, who are like these specially trained. So then he goes to them lot, and while that's happening, some massive drug dealer is about to be arrested. For selling drugs, and then he gets all these mercenaries to come and shoot up all the policemen, and then this guy, his brother is the same person who died right at the beginning of the film that the main guy killed. If that makes any sense. So the guy who was killed at the beginning of the film is the brother of the villain of the film.
Okay.
So then, so this guy joins up with the Wolf Gang, whatever they are, for the future. And,
Wolf gang, wolf gang.
Kill them all.
Now there are 4 in the wolf pack.
Yeah.
and they're doing a simulation training. So I think they're doing a simulation training. It was kind of because obviously I'm trying to keep up with the subtitles and watch the film at the same time, so it was going a bit fast. But so I think they were doing a simulation where it was them, the Wolfgang, versus the actual army to see like who's good at what and stuff like that. So like when they were shooting, I think it was all like blanks and fake bombs and stuff like that.
Mm.
And so while that's happening, the bad guys hiring mercenaries to. I think this is where it gets a bit confusing. I think they were hiring him to kill the guy who killed his brother. So then, whilst they're doing the training, they are encountered by a pack of wolves. And really badly CGI'd wolves as well. And these wolves, there's about 35 wolves just come out of nowhere and try to kill this group of people. And if they eventually fight off the wolves and they get fire and the wolves run away and stuff like that, they're like, oh yeah, we made it, woo! And then they go to like some forest thing, and then the mercenaries come, and they're like banging around, kills a couple guys. And one guy, this is when, like, do you remember in... What film do you want to look? In Life, yeah, when the guy was like, one of the guys was like, oh yeah, got a daughter at home, and he was like, oh, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
That basically happened in this film as well.
Okay.
So one guy he took off his hat, and he had a picture of his daughter. And he's like, my girl's waiting for me at home. He kisses the hat. I was like, that's the kiss of death. You're gonna die.
Yeah.
So that guy dies, and like 2 scenes later, and these guys are all like well upset because obviously it's your comrade and whatnot. And then. So then, these mercenaries come, kill a couple of them, and then they run off. But I don't know why, because the guy who they wanted to capture was still there, but they didn't kill him. I don't know what the plan was. So they run off. They're running to try and get out of China to get to the Chinese border, and so then the Wolfgang all go to the Chinese border basically to have like a final battle, and they're basically there's like 4 mercenaries, and they're fucking up a whole army of Chinese people, and one of them writes on a big stone. In Chinese, like Chinese Boy Scouts or something like that, to kind of like say like you guys are shit, basically. So then one of the commanding officer of the Wolfgang, he's like just basically walking in the woods, and then the mercenaries start shooting him, and he's not dead, but he's on the floor. And they do this thing in China where like basically if you're shot and you're like basically you know you're gonna die, you're like to your fellow soldiers like, one of you guys, can you guys kill me? Make it quick, like hurry up, sort of thing. And so he goes to the main guy and he's like, can you kill me? Make it quick. And then it flashes back, I think, from a time where the main guy was in the army before and someone else asked him to kill him, and he was like bare shitting himself, like well scared because obviously he doesn't want to kill his friend.
He didn't fuck it up, did he? That's always worse.
So
like,
you think
and he's just like in loads of pain.
So like they try to like rescue him, but anytime one of them gets up to rescue him, they're shot down by the sniper on the other side, the mercenaries. So the guy was just like, he's about to kill him, and then he just starts going, ah! And he starts smacking up this tree with his machine gun. The tree falls down, so he gives him a barrier, and then he grabs his commanding officer and then drags him back to the wetware, so he didn't have to kill him. And then the main guy just goes on a mad one and starts killing all the mercenaries, and eventually kills the main mercenary guy. And then the main bad guy basically realises that his plan's going awry, so he disguises himself as someone who works in the infirmary. I think it's called infirmary, the medical people. So he's about to come and help rescue the main guy once he's killed the bad guy, and he basically got like this needle. I'm assuming for the poison or something like that. But then the guy recognises a tattoo on his arm, and he like kind of breaks his arm, and then like stomps on his head basically. And then a load of fucking random Chinese guys just start running over, like, yeah, we're gonna attack the main guy, and then the main guy's like stamping on this geezer's head, and he's like. It literally, when you subtitles, he's going like, what, basically in the subtitles, and then all his mates come round, because he's basically like standing over the main bad guy with a gun, saying like, if you try to attack me, I'm going to kill your main leader, and they're like, oh, okay, we'll just back off, and they all run off, and then his mates come, and then they arrest the bad guy, and then the good guy gets with the leader of the Wolfgang, which is a woman, who he kind of had like one scene with, and apparently they were in love, so yeah, and then it ended.
Love was so easy in films in back in
How
the
was
day.
the action?
The action was decent, yeah. It was alright. There's a lot of deaths. The blood was a bit like, you can tell it when people were getting shot, you could tell it was pretty fake.
Okay.
But that side, yeah, it was alright. And the wolves were really, really CGI'd. Apart from that, it was decent.
So does it make you want to watch the second one?
Not really, but I'm gonna watch it anyway, just because this is a really high-grossing film, so I think it might be alright.
So I've looked it up because I wasn't quite sure of the figures, but this film has made $873.4 million, which is the equivalent of 5.6 billion Chinese yuan, I think it is. And it is the second highest grossing film of all time in a single market, which means just in the country that it's released in, behind Star Wars: The Force Awakens, which made 936 million in North America. It is the fourth highest grossing film of 2017 and the 54th highest grossing film of all time. And it's the first and only non-Hollywood film ever to be included in the top 100 list.
To be fair though, if you're doing a film in China and you got like a population of 1.2 billion people, you only need half of them to see it.
Yeah.
If that, you need like a very small margin to watch it, because obviously America's only got like 300 million. Plus you got the rest of the
Well,
West.
if that was the case, you'd think a lot more Chinese films would be up there. But
Yeah,
no.
it's true.
True.
Yeah, but obviously this film's found a huge audience, and there might even be like repeat viewings. You know, you never know. So I mean, to make that much money in one country is insane. So I wonder if it will get a release, you know, internationally.
I don't know. Well, the first one's on Netflix, so maybe they'll just put the second one out.
Oh, okay, cool.
I'll watch that too. What else did I watch? I watched a really crappy film called The Layover, and that is got
I've seen that.
I
Is
think
that on
I've seen
Netflix?
that as well.
Yeah.
The layover.
I don't know if it's on Netflix. I didn't watch it on Netflix, but it might be on Netflix.
What's
It's got Kate Upton, and then Alexandra Daddario. So you can guess why I watched it.
Oh, is this the one where they fight over a
yeah,
guy?
yeah.
I literally watched the advert on YouTube, like a trailer for it on YouTube on Friday.
Did you?
So random
Yeah,
that.
Is it a new film?
Don't watch it.
It's totally. Do you know what? Yeah, actually, you can watch it. Like, it's not awful, but it's not really any point in watching it. It's a bit.
I'm just watching
Yeah,
his
yeah,
text.
Yeah,
really.
basically, like
She's
Basically,
beautiful.
Lights off,
Alexandra
hands
Daddario.
down.
these two best mates. They're basically both a bit. These two best mates. They're both a bit down. They're like one of them's like more outgoing than the other one, but she's basically like a failure in life, and the other one's a teacher, but her boss asked her to quit, and she's quite like she's the smart one, but she's quite like timid. She doesn't want to take risks and stuff like that. So then they're like, oh yeah, we need to go on holiday. So they go on holiday to Fort something in Florida. Fort
Lauderdale.
That's the one. And they get there's like a hurricane or something like that. So they get stuck in St. Louis, I think. With this guy who was sitting in the middle of them on the plane way over there, and they're both basically like, oh yeah, I want him. So they go through this whole like stunt trying to updo each other, trying to impress this guy. One of them
Is he hot?
the guy's pretty good
Is he
looking, to be fair.
handsome?
So you know, and this guy's like on his way to a wedding, so he's like trying to get to the bachelor party or something like that. Yeah, so he's going through that ordeal, and then there's this jeweler guy who's interested in Kate Upton's character, but she's not interested in him because he's like it's the same guy who plays Badger in Breaking Bad. Don't know if you remember him.
Oh really?
Yeah.
The one who does this, he's like always got different job in it, and he's a drug
Yeah,
dealer as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's
Don't remember him.
that's the jeweler
Plays
guy.
piano, right?
He's playing with a sign. He's wearing no.
But
Yeah.
so yeah, they're just fighting over him. You
Actually,
know, they do some
it's
stuff, they do a load of crap, and get out in bathing suits and stuff like that. I was like, yeah, it's decent. So,
Tits.
do you want me to tell you the ending, or do you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
go
want
for
to
it, mate.
So they're on a road trip. They're on a road trip because basically he's trying to get to his wedding in time because he's trying to get to this wedding, and
Is it his wedding?
Try and get to this wedding.
yeah,
in time
he's trying to get
because
to
he's gonna
his
married?
wedding, but at the time neither of them knew that it was him getting married.
Yeah.
So then he sleeps with both of them, but they don't know that.
Oh, snap.
So then the next day afterwards, I think one of them mentions about he's got the fact that he's got a crooked penis, and she's like, how do you know that? And they start fighting, and they're like fucking each other up basically. And then when they're talking to policemen, they're like, oh yeah, we were just with this guy called Ryan. He was trying to get to his friend's wedding, and then they're like, oh no, it's actually his wedding. So then they drive to this wedding, and they see him. He's already got married, like, and his wife's basically a massive bitch, and they're basically like, okay, we're gonna allow you because you seem like you've got a lifetime of hurt waiting for you because your wife's such a prick. so they don't tell anyone, and then they're like, oh yeah, we need to, because they live together. They're like, we need to move out because we're too codependent on each other. Blah blah blah. So then they move out. The girl literally just moved next door. And she starts taking classes in something. I'm not really sure what it is. I think maybe history. I don't know. To try this character because she's a bit of a dick. And then Alexandra Daddario's character gets a promotion at work because she starts being assertive in her job. Yeah, Bob's your uncle.
Is it funny?
Rob's your dad's brother. Not really.
Is it supposed to be?
I think so.
Doesn't sound like a recommendation.
Well,
Ice cold.
tits.
Ice cold.
Rating out of 10.
Tits. Tits out of 10.
5. 10 out of 10. 11, but you know. Yeah, it was a 5. And I was just going to quickly rattle off the ones I watched. I watched a film called Amazing Grace.
Sounds like a religious film.
No, well, actually kind of, a little bit. So basically, Amazing Grace is about William Wilberforce, who...
Woo! I was in Wilberforce in my primary school.
Yeah, you're shit, mate.
Houses.
Houses, you know, you had houses at primary
Dickens?
school.
Different colours, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah,
Ours is
Dickens,
like-
Pitt, Wolf,
That's what we had as well.
Wilberforce, bunch of the non-athletic people.
Innit? Fucking nerds.
Yep. Anyway, carry on,
Yeah,
represent.
the film's about William Wilberforce and basically his quest to abolish the slave trade in the Great British Empire. And it just kind of goes through the period of like 15 years from when he first put the bill forward to Parliament, and from then like 20 years to like a 20-year period basically, to the point where he got the slave trade abolished, and he kind of like loses his way a little bit, and then he finds God, and God's basically telling him like, you need to kind of like make this happen, and people think he's going crazy because he says, oh, I found God, and he's like starts laying in fields, just thinking and praying and stuff like that. People think he's gone mental, and it like showed like how all the other members of parliament were so like against abolishing the slave trade. Not really because, well, from the way the film showed it, not because they thought like black people were lesser than, but obviously that's implied in the fact that they're slaves, but more from the fact that if we get rid of our slaves, then we're not gonna be able to get any money from, you know, cotton and sugar and blah blah blah, all that stuff. So basically, he has to keep going through his bills. He has to go all around the UK, signing petitions, gets like 400,000 signatures, and all this. He goes through all these ordeals, meets his wife, much fit, can't remember her name. I think it was Barbara.
Babs.
Yeah. And he sees his preacher. I can't remember the preacher's name, but his preacher, who's the guy who invented the song "Amazing Grace," and that's where the name of the film comes from. And it basically the preacher guy is someone who used to be the captain on those slave ships, and basically when he's come back, he's basically realised like what he did was horrible, and he goes blind. So one of the lyrics of the song is "was blind, but now I see." He's like, "Oh, now I see what I did was terrible. I've got all these deaths on my conscience, blah blah blah." So then basically they're not even able to end it through people's compassion. The only reason they were able to end it was because they basically made it so that any ship that was travelling, any British ship, I think, before this happened, any British ship or French ship that was travelling from wherever they were to the Americas, like either the Caribbean or North America, they would put an American flag on their boat, so that when people came to check their cargo, they're not allowed to. I think they're not allowed to take anything, like any products or anything, whatever like that. So they basically made it so that everyone travelling from America, from wherever they are towards that side of the world, they have to put their own flag on their boat. So then when their boats are checked, they're not protected by any sort of like American law. So their cargo can be checked, their products can be taken, the slaves can be taken, So he basically bankrupted all the slave traders within like 2 years. So then they were like, okay, we haven't really got a business now for this slave trade. So then they took a vote on it, and there was like a landslide victory. So the only reason they really were like, okay, we'll abolish this was because we're not getting any money from it.
Yeah.
So
sad reality of it, isn't it? It's all comes down to business.
Yeah. And he did that, and people thought he was going mental, and then he had colitis or something like that. So like he was like, and then they were trying to give him opiates to try and calm down, but then he was like, no, because it's making me feel like I'm on drugs, which you obviously are, but making me feel like loopy. So he was like, I don't want to do this, and he was like going through pain, also trying to deliver these speeches and in Parliament and stuff like that. But yeah, interesting film. Decent.
What made you want to watch it?
Opiates.
I bought it in. I just saw it in CX. I think it was 50p, and I just thought, oh, let me watch this. Because I remember seeing the adverts for it back when it came out in like 2006. Oh, Benedict Cumberbatch in it, by the way.
Okay.
He plays the Prime Minister at the time. William Pitt, I think is his name. But yeah, I just saw it and I was like, oh, I never actually got around to watching it back however many years ago when it came out. So I thought I should watch it now. It's only 50p, so I thought, yeah, give it a go. It's decent.
Good 50p well spent, mate.
Yeah, it's alright. I think that's what I watched this week.
Out of 10?
Give it a solid 7. It was alright.
I bought Be Kind Rewind for 50p from CES.
What a mistake that was, mate. What a mistake.
Absolute garbage.
Yeah.
I watched about 10 minutes
I
of
think
it.
you
there's
think
only
that's-
one good part of that, and that's when they remake the old movies with like Ghostbusters and he has like the hoses.
Nah, that was crap.
I watched an anime as well, actually.
Yeah, which one?
No way.
A basketball one. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
it was
Yeah.
like Karuko Ko's basketball or something like that.
Yeah. He's sick at it, mate.
It's fucking weird.
Yeah, it gets really highly rated, the basketball.
Yeah, that's why I watched it. Cause I
Mm.
think I saw the film on Cartoon HD, so I was like, oh, let me see what the series is about. And like, I was actually just like watching. Whilst I was watching it, I was getting annoyed because I was just like, I don't even know why I'm watching this.
The thing is,
But-
it's so weird, isn't it? 'Cause
Yeah.
like, you have like the people on the side commentate about the gameplay.
And I feel like if I could understand Japanese, I would, or I think it's Japanese, I would like it a lot more, because I don't think that when they interpret it into subtitles, it doesn't translate very
Not
well.
translated 100%.
So
No.
you should watch more English dubbed
Yeah.
anime then,
Mm.
because you'll enjoy
That one
it.
I think is in English dub, so if you online.
Just
Yeah.
has Google Translate on his phone at the same time as whilst they're talking.
Mm.
What have you been watching, Oliver?
I've seen a few things, but I got suggested a film called The Impossible.
That's about the
That's about the tsunami in 2004 on Boxing Day in Southeast Asia.
Is that the one with
Ewan McGregor? Yeah, that's the one. And I can't
Tom
remember.
Holland.
I fucking knew I recognised that kid.
Spider-Man, isn't it?
I was like, who is this kid? He's in a film. I can't remember what. Yeah, so it just follows a bit of whitewashing. Follows British family. Well, I'm assuming they're British.
Yeah.
Essentially just trying to find each other after the huge tsunami that hit. It was really good. It was like really tense. Like you saw some. It wasn't a lot of gore, but obviously like this mum, like half her leg was just like hanging off.
Yeah.
I saw it. I was like, oh my god! And then Tom Holland's character, this is literally the same reaction.
Yeah.
He was like, no, I can't look at that. Fuck that.
It's quite a deep film.
It is, yeah. It's over very quickly though, isn't it? Because it's pretty much just about. It's not really them about surviving or.
It's more them trying to find each other again after.
It's a bit weepy, isn't it?
And it's just so specific about this family that there's literally next to no interaction with any other people.
No.
And if you're in this huge catastrophe, you'd be with everyone like all the time, surely.
Yeah.
You know, or
Well, maybe that's
some
the point.
people,
Maybe it's like even though this affected millions of people, you still feel isolated.
Yeah, I mean there was like a couple of occasions where like so he's asking for a guy to use the guy's mobile phone, but he's like, no mate, everyone wants something, so I'm gonna hold on to it. And there's another bit where like a woman's got some food, but she's like obviously rationing it to herself, as opposed to like community, you know, share and care. But yeah, man, it was big. It was really good. Like I thought it was really good production and like effects.
Yeah.
So obviously it's pretty much they're just. I guess the set is just like a field they've just flooded.
Yeah.
They've put like cars and wrecked things, and it just puts like some perspective of what the fuck do you do when there's literally nothing you can do.
It's quite topical as well, considering the Americas are suffering from several hurricanes that have kind of. I know it's obviously it's not the same as tsunamis, but they've still been devastated and flooding.
Yeah.
Damn. Would you recommend it though? I have seen it, but you've recommended
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'd
recommend
recommend it as well.
what would it come under? Just a drama? Like
I guess so. Yeah.
Out of 10?
Out of 10. Well, I kind of like that kind of stuff, like
Yeah.
natural disasters. So I'm definitely not planning on watching that new shit film,
Geostorm.
Fuck
You know
that.
what? Oh, mate,
my
it looks
God.
like a Day After Tomorrow sequel, mate.
It does.
It actually does,
Is it
yeah.
about the same people, or am I making?
It might be,
produced it.
and it looks like the main character who's in it was one of the main characters in Day After Tomorrow.
Jared Butler. He's like the main character.
Yeah, but there's a kid in it as well. I thought he was the kid who was on the plane in Day After Tomorrow.
It looks absolutely
On the
wank.
plane.
The kid on what the?
Sorry, the kid's dad was on the plane. No,
Dennis
Jake
Quaid.
yeah, the kid who was on the plane. He was on the plane with his girlfriend. He was
Jake
like,
Gyllenhaal.
No, the black guy.
no, white guy.
Jake
Yeah,
Gyllenhaal.
Jake
Is
Gyllenhaal. Yeah.
Jake Gyllenhaal was in it,
It wasn't. It was
Jake Gyllenhaal was the guy on the plane that was shit scared.
and
in
his
the
dad was the
turbulence.
scientist,
Yeah.
Dennis Quaid.
Then it must have been one of the other guys. But one of the other guys looked like exactly the same as the guy that's in this film.
Wow, racist.
All white people.
Yeah, I guess so.
So yeah, I might watch Geostorm, but it's gonna be shit.
I'll probably watch it. I'm not gonna lie.
It looked
I'll watch
It
it.
looks awful, but I would watch it.
If it's like Day After Tomorrow, though, I really like
The
Day After
graphics
Tomorrow.
looks terrible, considering it's now 2017.
And they're like, oh my god, it's a catastrophe on a global scale. It's a geostorm.
Are you sure it's not a sequel though? Is it? Because I thought it was a sequel.
Broken over.
I thought it was a sequel because they made reference to like as if something had happened before and that they were prepared for incidences like this, and then the stuff that they were using was going to backfire almost.
Don't know.
Maybe it's not a sequel per se, maybe it's just in the same universe.
It sounds like something that a Power Rangers series should be called. Power Rangers. Geostorm.
Could well be.
Like it.
Yeah.
What is the new Power Rangers TV series called? I don't even know.
Fuck knows.
Ninja Force, Mystic,
Dinosaur.
Mystic Thunder.
Mystic Dino,
Mystic
Space,
Robot Dino.
Galaxy.
Nothing on the originals, mate.
Did
Nothing.
you guys see the trailer for that Liam Neeson film?
The
Oh,
community.
the one
I know
on the
some
train.
people know,
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, I saw it.
I watched it. I thought it was like Taken, but I thought he was the one who was taken, and like someone else had to come and like rescue him. But
Who would rescue Liam Neeson?
I don't know.
So-
To be fair,
Liam Neeson doesn't
he is-
need rescuing.
Well, he does on that train, mate.
Yeah.
So he's been set up basically to play a game to find out who is the odd character on the train.
Mm.
Yeah, that trailer confused me.
Yeah.
He is in some
I'm still
rubbish
I'm
films,
still
man.
watching
Like
Yeah.
Non-Stop was shit.
And the what's it called? I watched that, the Murder on the Orient Express. I really want to watch that one as well.
Yeah, I wanna watch that.
When's that out?
I think it's November.
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't know.
It's quite a good cast in that, isn't there?
There's a fair few decent films coming out.
There has been a murder.
What?
That was
It's
in
got
French. That was
Ragnarok
a
as
really
well.
bad film.
Yeah, November the 3rd.
Ragnarok. I thought Ragnarok was coming out in October,
November the 3rd.
which clearly isn't October.
Oh, is
Cool,
it?
Fair enough.
There's something else happening that day.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Nah,
Yeah.
November the
Nothing
3rd is the
important.
least significant day in my calendar. No one is turning.
So I just got a day off for that.
No
so
one's
it's alright.
birthday.
So,
You got a day off on your birthday?
yeah, birthday.
clever, that.
You get a birthday day, mate.
Do you?
Yeah.
I'll come work for your company. No, I'm joking.
What, you actually get a birthday day?
Yeah.
Mad.
You have to take it within the week of your birthday.
What if you're the queen? You have like 3 birthdays.
Guess she's a lucky girl.
Innit? What if your birthday falls on a weekend?
Oh, guys, yeah.
Screwed.
You
No,
get in lieu.
no.
So you get any day that week?
Yeah, you can choose that one day in that
That's
week.
crazy.
It's in that week, isn't it, Obes?
That's crazy.
We're getting it next year as well.
That's what's
Probably
good.
sicky, innit? I'm ill. You're
Well-
hungover. Yeah.
You know what you get on your birthday is cake, and
Blowjob.
you've watched a film.
Oh, you're talking about.
Trying to segue into layer cake.
Well, we can. They're talking of cake, yeah. I went into the aisle in Sainsbury's, yeah, and they have popcorn with cake and popcorn mixed together.
I know.
So it's popcorn with cake icing and little
Little bit of sponge.
no,
It reminds me of what.
with a little
Hundreds and thousands.
yeah on it.
It
Don't
reminds,
get it. Don't get it.
it reminds me of that day we went round Pickford and Leslie made that cake with the popcorn on top.
We won't talk
We was
about
watching
this.
the England game.
remember that.
I feel like
It's my
I have
birthday.
this.
Did the cake have layers?
Yes, it did. Layer cake.
Layer cake.
I haven't seen that.
So following from Daniel
Swag
Craig's
like.
discussion earlier.
I almost segued into it then, but I thought, you know,
So
I
I
was setting
haven't
this one up.
I haven't seen
priming
it in years, man. I can't remember what
Welcome
it's
to the
about.
layer cake, son.
Welcome to the layer cake.
What's
right
it
at
about?
the end, innit? So it's essentially kind of like a drug deal gone wrong.
This is Daniel Craig as well. Isn't
And
it?
Michael Gambon?
And Michael Gambon again.
But it's L4YERCAK3, right?
Yeah.
The
But don't
full
ask me to do the full storyline because I kind of got confused. Like towards, you know, when you're like following the story quite well because it's
Yeah.
pretty easy to understand. And then a couple of people get killed, and then you're following another couple of people, and they're like, "Oh, well, he killed him," and then they start talking about past events, and you're like,
Yeah.
"Hang about, who are we talking about now?" And just I can't remember
You
any of
lost
their
it.
names. I think one of them was called Freddy. And
I
he died within about 30 seconds.
I remember watching it. I've seen it 2 or 3 times. I remember watching it, and by the end of it, I was like, "What?"
Was a guy in a boot in this film? I
Pardon?
feel like it was a guy in a boot, or there was a deal going
No.
on
It's
in
getting
a
way too big
car.
for his boot.
Oh,
Stormzy.
what about
Anyway,
So yeah, it's just following there was a heist of 1 million ecstasy pills in Amsterdam, and they've made their way to the UK. And Daniel Craig is like the middleman, where he finds buyers.
Right.
So he's the bit between the supplier and the buyer. So
Aspire.
So he's like he's got to place these ecstasy pills, but then he finds out that actually, well, I don't know if I'll spoil it, so I can't even spoil it for myself. So I don't remember what it was. But essentially, he finds out that he's being played because these pills weren't bought or made. They're not given to him from the supplier. They, like I said, they were from a heist. So the guy who made the pills has sent off like an assassin to find Daniel Craig because he's the middleman, and he's
Right.
like, shit, well now someone's following me on my back. So he's kind of like got to satisfy the assassin who's coming to get him. He's also got to get rid of the pills, but he's trying to like make money at the same time, and there's a lot going on, isn't there? There's like
Yeah.
3 different storylines at the same time that he's got to do. He's got to find this girl, he's got to get rid of the pills, and he's got to like survive
Not die.
pretty much.
I remember
Yeah.
enjoying it, but I don't remember understanding it much.
It was good.
What is the layer cake?
When you at the bottom and you take loads of shit, then you go up a little bit and you take a little less shit, and then when you're at the top and you don't even remember what shit even feels like.
Is that a quote?
That's Michael Gambon. That's his little
Good
speech at the
remember.
end.
Could be a
Not
period.
word for word. Not far off.
Paraphrasing.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think being at the top though, you don't want to be at the top 'cause then you got a long way down. Biggie, what is it? The bigger you are, the harder you fall.
Yeah.
Isn't that by Drake or something?
Is this? Would you consider this a cult classic?
I wouldn't say cult classic, but
What is cult classic? What is
Cult classic.
yeah?
It's kind of like a
It's
film
not a
that
cult.
was not particularly well received
Oh,
or widely
not a massive
recognised.
Would you call this a
Yeah.
classic
But gets
then,
a follow.
not a cult classic? Would you just call it a classic?
I just like it being like a proper English-based movie. Like they're driving around like the north in the M25 or whatever, and you see the shitty little roads that we have in London, as opposed to like Matt Damon going up down
Yeah.
all these nice cobbled streets in Europe or America, these huge M25 motorways and things like that.
It's a Matthew Vaughn film, isn't
puts you at home, doesn't it? You're like,
Yeah. Is it Matthew Vaughn film?
I think so.
Yeah. I think it was one of his first. Did you enjoy it though?
Yeah, man, really good. I
Okay.
think I've seen it before a long time ago. I couldn't remember it. I knew it was about drugs, so I was like, get on it. But then it put me off drugs, and I was like, oh god,
Damn it!
shit, we're going down.
What
in
a,
a few weeks.
what a horrible film to put you off drugs. Do you know, weirdly, there's a film I've seen like 3 times and I never remember it. And it's kind of ironic. It's Deja Vu. You cannot remember.
Is that a horror?
Yeah, Denzel Washington.
Do you know,
No.
I can't actually remember what happens in it either.
I can't.
I've seen that.
I think it must have one of those like Men in Black things at the end. It
Yeah.
just wipes your memory of it, which
That
is
bad,
kind of
huh?
ironic.
Man, I might have to actually watch that.
Yeah. Anyone else want to mention anything? Anyone seen anything of note?
Latest Rick and Morty.
Latest Rick and Morty. I thought it was pretty good personally. It's been one of the one of the better ones of the series, I think.
Did you
Have
feel
you
this
seen
series has
any
been
of these?
weaker than
Yeah,
others?
yeah, I definitely think.
I don't feel like I've laughed as much
I
as the
think I
series.
enjoy it.
I think there's been
Schedule.
episodes in it where it's been really good, and then other episodes it's been really just like plain.
Yeah. So what's the latest episode when they kind of
He finds
filler
so
episode isn't it, when he gets his memories?
yeah, pretty much. So Rick steals Morty's bad memories or memories of Morty laughing at Rick, and just contains them in this secret vault. And then-
Morty wants to get rid of the bad ones as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
So
and then
it's
he relives some bad ones, doesn't he? And it's quite funny,
That's
the
jokes.
bad ones. I thought it was quite funny at the end how what's the sister's name?
Summer.
Summer just knew what to do. She was like, "Oh God, it's a code 4. Like, gotta do it all."
I didn't laugh at this episode. I haven't really laughed much this series. I feel like I liked it more when there was a sort of thread between them, because you know, like the last couple of series have been like Bird Person, and then like his wife turns out to be evil. But they haven't really touched upon that this series.
Next episode looks quite good actually. I've seen the preview, and also I think the main storyline now is obviously Bad Morty, isn't it? Evil Morty.
True.
But
But then also Jerry's just not being like,
Jerry's
that
not in it.
subplot about it, their
well,
marriage.
do you see come in at the end of the episode is God, he's such a
It's a good show.
yeah. I mean, it's good though. I think it's still good. Maybe they've really saturated it because they did funny jokes, and it's just there is a repeat of the same old stuff. But I have recently been watching theories about it,
Okay.
and so there's theories that each episode isn't necessarily the same Rick and Morty.
Yeah,
It's different Rick and Morty's.
Oh
They are
right.
an infinite number.
There are, and then there's also a theory that Rick is Morty.
Yeah.
But when he's older.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So Rick.
So that means Morty is his own mum's father.
yeah, essentially.
They can
Fucking
time
hell.
travel.
And
wouldn't
some.
it? So, yeah.
That's what the fuck. Okay.
Yeah.
But then, but they always reference like, oh, you're Rick and Morty C137
Yeah.
or something. So, is it just those episodes that's the same Rick and Morty, and others, if they don't mention it, then it could be any?
Could be, yeah, because
Could be.
they mentioned in one of the episodes where they take what's his name again, the dad?
Jerry.
They take Jerry to the Jerry daycare,
Yeah.
and
Loads of Jerrys.
yeah, and apparently like there's a ticket that they get, and in the picture you can see it's like C1, whatever the universe is, and when they go home, they swap tickets with someone else because they're like, oh, I think you got my Jerry. And if that's the case, then they've given away a different Jerry, so which suggests that them two that you originally saw going in weren't, or I don't know. There's some theory where that wasn't the C142 Rick and Morty kind of thing. But and then in the episode where they go to the Citadel of Rick, it is now still the Citadel of Rick, isn't it? One of the Ricks looks like a Rick but has Morty's face on him. And they're like,
Okay.
so it's a mixed breed of both of them kind of thing.
Oh, that's special.
It's trippy.
Yeah.
Very trippy.
Yeah.
So, going along Rick and Morty, I'm going to open a
my
question
days.
to everyone. So, if you were to see if your future self came back
Yeah.
and they know how you die, but they also know all about your future and the life steps, would you ask them what happens?
No.
Would you want to know
No.
I don't want to know how I die.
anything about your future?
No.
How would they know how I die?
Because they do.
But
But they're alive.
Yeah, I know, but it's just a theoretical question. All right. Well,
It's like your fear. It's,
if
to
a
be fair.
genie, if there was a genie,
No,
and
no,
they
to
were
be fair,
like,
it's like the theoretical question you gave us last week about the thing in a bottle. You could put anything
yeah,
in there, but you said that we only could write
got
to
to be
one
one
person.
word, and you know it's going to get to them, and you know you're going to die. You never know
Hey,
you're
to
going
be
to
fair,
die.
I said to Lauren about I would put sperm in the bottle, and she said that was cute. So vindicated, mate.
She was
Um,
definitely asleep.
Sharp. I wouldn't want to know anything about my future because then I'd be paranoid that, oh, what if I make this decision? Do I still end up there? You know, because surely knowing about it might
Yeah, but what
change.
if it's a bad thing?
I would.
Like, I'm assuming you're going on the good line, like, oh, you're going to be a millionaire. And
Yeah, but if
you're
you
like, shit, what do I do that makes me a millionaire?
but if you
Instead
tell
of,
me-
like, you're going to be a crack addict, you're going to end up in a sewer.
Yeah, but if I was to be a crack addict, then depends. Because if, like, obviously destiny is a fixed thing, then I think, oh, okay, I'm not going to go to Amsterdam because I might take crack, become a crack addict. But then if I don't go to Amsterdam, maybe I'll fall into a pile of crack and accidentally sniff it. And, you know, so I could end up at that place anyway. I'd just rather not know because then, you know, if you said I'm going to become a millionaire, I'll be like, oh god, yeah, I've got to do the lottery all the time. But maybe it's not the lottery that makes me a millionaire. So
mind blown.
And then you spend
So
the
none-
lottery
none of you wanna
tickets
know.
and you
No, I
fucking
won't lie
become a
to
crack
you.
addict.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
won't lie to you. If my future self came back and said that I could know anything, and he didn't bring me back the Euro Million numbers from one of the weeks near the day he came
It's
to
not all
visit
about
me.
money, mate.
Well, not gonna lie, it would change my life a little bit.
Mate, you've
if
got
one
so
of
many
your-
subscriptions to whatever. If you were to just not buy
I only have
all the
two.
things that
What are you on about? I only have 2 subscriptions: Amazon Prime and Netflix. Mate.
Do you not get like one of those like food boxes, like Graze or whatever?
No,
You don't get that? Oh, I
no.
thought you did.
I used to get a Loot Crate.
What is that?
And there's loads of other boxes available from different companies. And it had like loads of little like. It had a
Like
theme
food?
in a month, and
Oh.
so it'll be like it'll be zombies, and it'll give you like Walking Dead thing or.
That's
I
gone
got,
back out soon.
yeah, I got rid of that though because it was like £20 a month. I didn't want it.
Jesus.
what would you two? Obi, you wouldn't want to know your future.
No.
I wouldn't ask nothing either.
Alright.
I would want to know the lottery numbers, mate. Why has he not come back with
All
these?
my life to be surprised.
But money doesn't necessarily make you happy. You could win the lottery and become
Yeah,
really.
but it'd be a lot easier to be happy if I had loads of money. I'm not gonna lie.
If I met someone and they said I want you to be the house dad while I earn bare money, I'd be like yes. I'd be like yes.
Marry me today.
I would-
House husband.
Chris, I think you would be an awful house. I'm not even gonna lie.
Where's the kids?
I feel like you'd be trying to.
I'll be watching TV.
Yeah,
I'll be like,
watching TV, trying to make breakfast, change nappies, go shower, brush teeth, all at the same
I
time.
mate. I'm gonna be a good dad, maybe not a good house dad, though. For
I think if you're going to be happy, you need to have one child. Just one. I feel like there's more than one. Your life is going to be over.
that's it. I need to be a millionaire, so I can
Just pay someone.
I can just sit there in my cinema room, like chilling out.
think
I had 2 kids just having their chairs next to me. I'd be like, yeah, watching this film. But yeah.
I think we need to give you like a baby Annabelle first. See how you treat that.
Mate, I'm not irresponsible.
You are very irresponsible.
Oh, shut up, you.
You cannot do one thing at a time.
I'm doing this one thing at a time.
You're always late.
I wasn't late today.
That's
To be
because your
fair-
house.
to be fair, if you're a house husband, you gotta know it's late. Just people be going to his house.
It's
He'd
true.
still be late.
Can't be late for
It's like his own birthday surprise.
I just be in my boxes like, hey guys.
In fairness, we can't pretend that we haven't all turned up to Chris's house and he's not been here.
That's true.
So you have been late to your own house.
Yeah, I've been.
It
Yeah,
has
that's
happened.
true.
But you know, that's how it goes, isn't it?
I'm learning life lessons, mate.
Exactly.
Only 20 something. I don't know. I can't remember
Yeah.
half the time how old I am.
You'll be
I fell asleep on the wall across your house a few a while back because you weren't in. I was
Fell asleep
gone
on his
over.
wall?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you were lying.
I don't know how you do that. Anyway,
It was a heavy night.
Oh, good times, good times.
And
Anyone else got some more
Oh, we need your
questions.
questions back, man. You need to.
Obi's question time.
What's wrong with my question?
No one likes you, Ollie. We've established this already.
See this kid?
Wow. Yeah, that's your own go-to, mate.
I'm just a realist.
Well,
But you
he's
know
just-
that.
he's just
You
deep-
say that to Chris.
he's deep down
You said
so-
to me, I know it's not true.
He's sad inside because I think that's what he thinks about himself. So he's just
He's lashing out.
yeah.
Yeah.
all right.
Maybe
Well,
we like you.
if
Jules
Yeah,
likes you.
you're so.
if any of
I
our
just like you.
Don't get me. She like you.
if any of our listeners have any questions, please do tweet us at YSC Podcast 17. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram under Your Average Critics, and we're also on iTunes and SoundCloud. Please leave us a 5-star review, share and subscribe, and tell a friend to tell a friend.
I got something else, real quick.
Okay.
So I know we're going to break it.
Sorry.
No.
But so I was on holiday. Did I mention this last week? On holiday, messaged Jules saying, "Oh yeah, accidentally killed someone." She's
What?
freaking out. What is your opinion of that?
It's natural.
Well, that your mum
Yeah.
freaked out that you told her.
No, what do you think of do you think that's a funny joke or not? Do you think that's
When
a
you
real douchebag thing
when
to
you
do?
did it, I was like,
I
this
said-
is not going to
I
go
said
well.
this to a mate at work the other day, and he was like, "Why the fuck would you do that?
Yeah,
You're
nah.
not." I was like, "Yeah, but it was funny." Obviously, I didn't really do it, and she didn't help. She didn't send a text like, "Get rid of the body," or like, "Find a safe
What
house."
did she say?
I'm
She
sending
started
some
calling
guys.
me, and I got the voicemails the next day, and she was like, I'm serious. I'm getting my passport. I'm coming." I was like,
I don't know really. I think you could have probably started on a smaller joke, but
Yeah.
"Oh."
It was
Wow.
questionable at the time,
it's
considering it was about 11, 12 at night. as
It's
well.
telling the fact that
Was
she
quite
believed you though. Like she always has quite a low opinion of you.
Ouch.
Well, I think maybe more that she knew he was driving in another country.
True. Oh, did you say that you'd run someone over or something?
No.
No,
You just said, "Hi, mum, just killed someone by accident."
yeah, that's what he did.
Fucking hell.
Oh God.
Obi's like, why did you do that? Like,
I'm just worried about Julie, to be honest. She's a nice woman. Don't need to treat her that way.
Bullshit. I'm gonna get your phone and do it to your mum, and then we'll see the response.
I tell my
I
mum
want to compare.
I tell my mum regularly that I'm going to sell drugs, and she says, "Make sure you bring back enough money." I feel like she'll be down as long as I kill someone for the right reasons.
It's true. It's true.
Not to incriminate my mum, then sort of trick around that I may commit because then it's maybe use evidence.
It's
So-
fine. No one knows your mum's name or your surname. So on that bombshell, we will leave that there before anyone incriminates themselves. Tune in next week.